Anga wanswarane kazi ya gai marakara la itumela ma ala taba le grand. All right, kina na re qaleng because the gar batho ba re ba emetseng about ne re expectile batho ba ka bang 250 no re 90 plus nna re 91 kina na ke COVID regulations ka COVID phela 1 ke 2 go te gona le stulo o jumpe se seng o bona so 90 by 2 go se re tsa mo go ma 180 so re sharp. I think we can proceed. Ne? Before we start, can I request bontate kaofela ba role re opele national anthem, then we can proceed. Thank you very much.
Re a leboga thata.
Asasnyana go ya no re kena ditabe.
We are not going to waste time. We are going to start with our program.
A ke tsebo tolokela mang re toloka ntate. Tsa mosebetsi wa patelwa mos. But a ke tsebo tolokela mang.
I thought it was for the record, Chairperson.
Oh, you are doing it for the record. Oh, because ke a check or tolokela mang ai. Ka re bua le nna mo. Ene ke ikutlwa mos ba o ntolokela. Ke na no tolokele mamthunu. Mamthunu ba tla mo tolokele ka seZulu. Ngaso ba tla mo tolokele ka Xhosa, Dave ba tla mo tolokele ka English. Ke na no accommodate ene maybe.
Re sa mkwala kwa ntle.
O ba sabana belo. Okay. My name is Ntibi Modise.
Lebitso la ka ke Ntibi Modise.
I am the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment.
Ke modulasetulo wa committee ena
Of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment.
committee e shebileng taba tsa tikoloho, tshwaso ya dihlapi le tsa dikgwa.
There's a beautiful team here of members led by members of parliament.
Re na le sehlopha se setle mona se le hore se eteletswe pele ke maloko a parlamente.
I'm sure la utlwa hore moya wa ko o go fatshe ne. Akina ne kena vavavung today. And shame as papalas wait. Shame next. Mabani niktamela khagali lutse di snacks. Mara akere ki nikina khana gore tla kra hall e rile va. Re be le vum. Awa. And re jagile. Kanti ha re tlo kopana le bo makhelo ane fela re itenenya. Mara qoba. Nara o yetsa mo rona mosebetsi gore re ba kae hatch. Akere dumala. Ska tlogela re ha e ba le batla lona re ska qala ke shapo ka tabe. O le batla re qhobe. Re qhobe kene. Alright. A bona ntatona atologi. O toloka ntwe ena e batlang. O toloka e wena o e batlang go shebile tloelo sa tlolo toloka ntate. O tolokela mangu botsitse. Because nna ke ikutlwa re ntse ke re mme ka mona ka letsong la ka la moja ha utlwi ho hang. Ha utlwi ho hang o qakehile o sentse a emetse le tshege fela le tshege le tla bona le ena tshege o sa itse le ena ya ka nqane ha hae ona ka nqene wa utlwa hanyane ha tshika kwa ho hang o le fifi so utlwa holo o utlwa ke tsotsio ha ile o ka nqene hatch le ka nqane ha hae ho hang se ba imetse fela le tshe ba tla bona ka lona le tsheya fela ba tla tsheya le ona a yana ke tsotsi la ibona le lona mas la ibona tsotsi o ishebile wa ibona. Now, I want to take this opportunity to introduce Honorable Dlamini. Honorable Dlamini is a member of the Portfolio Committee and a member of Parliament. Honorable Dlamini is not a tsotsi.
Ke ratong ka monyetlo ona ke itsisi mohlomphehi Dlamini ke leloko la parliament.
Honorable Dlamini looks like a tsotsi, but he is not a tsotsi. Next to Honorable Dlamini is Honorable Mkhunu.
O dutseng pela hae ke mohlomphehi Mkhunu.
Next to me is Honorable Kancho.
Pela ka mona ke mohlomphehi Kancho.
On my left is Honorable Mbata.
Tsong la ka la molema ke mohlomphehi Mbatha.
Next to Honorable Mbata is Honorable Bryant.
Ke hotle ntate Bright, mohlomphehi Bright.
Now these are all members of the Portfolio Committee
Ke maloko kaofela a portfolio committee,
and members of Parliament.
maloko a parlamente.
Honorable Bryant is from the Western Cape.
Mohlomphehi Brian o tswa a le Western Cape.
Honorable Mbata is from Gauteng in Tshwane.
Mohlomphehi Mbatha yena kwa mona Gauteng.
Honorable Kancho is from the Eastern Cape in Sarapartman.
Mohlomphehi Kancho yena o tswa Eastern Cape.
Honorable Mkhunu is from KwaZulu Natal in Musadladla.
Mohlomphehi Mkhunu o tswa KwaZulu Natal.
Honorable Dlamini is from Gauteng.
Mohlomphehi Dlamini kwa mona Gauteng.
Niambona. Le right ka tabeo. Ke checkile hore mo programong ha tlhahelle ke bona hore ha tlhagelle today ke a theohella o ye. Ke a theohella mabane ka nyolosa ka nna kwana ka rena le teng mo programong. Ka jeko ke nna jwale. Ya ha yo mo programong ke tsaba ka yena. Welcome to the meeting of the Portfolio Committee.
Re lamohela kopanong ena ya committee ya rona ya parlamente.
We are here to consult you on climate change.
Re mona hore re tlo bontshana le lona ka taba tsa ho fetoha ha maemo a bosa.
We want you to tell us how it affects you
Re batla hore lona le re jwetse hore e le ama jwang.
and how do you think we can put systems of mitigation and adaptation.
Le hore re ka nka jwang dikgato re be le maano a hore re kgone hore re amohele ho tswela pele mo maemong ano.
We respect the fact that today it's a short day.
Re hlompha taba ya hore kajeko e tlo ba letsatsi le lekgutshwane.
So people have other engagements, your funerals, it's time to go to malls, to shopping, etc., etc.
Batho ba na le mabaka a mangata, ho na le mafu, ho na le mabaka a mang a mangata a ho ya dishopong le ho reka dintho tse le di hlokang.
Ordinary, everywhere we go, we expect MEC at least or the mayor or a speaker of council
Hangat-
to welcome us.
Hangata mo re tsamayang teng re lebeletse hore re amohelwe ke MEC kapa speaker sa council kapa mayor hore ebe bona ba re amohelang.
But we are told there's a workshop around here for councillors.
E fela ka tjeko re jwetsitswe hore ho na le workshop ya ma councillor.
Now, we don't want to interfere with that sphere of government.
Ha re batle hore rona re kena kene mo pusong mo tabeng tsa masepala.
But whether ba teng or abayo, ha rena re tswela pele.
But whether they are here or not, we are going to continue.
Are we agreed? Ikare ke a futhumala la mpona ne? Kare ke ba right nyana ne? Because ke a mogetse ne? A ke batlolla forever, ke motlolla forever. Ke lile ke editse, yanong ke a move. Tla utlwa wena ke futhumala. A ke re honorable Dlamini. A ke e jwalo ntate. Ya tla wena ntate, a o yo mo. O yo program. Now I want to invite Honorable Kancho.
Ke rata hore ke meme mohlomphehi Kancho
So that she can give us a brief overview of why we are here.
hore yena a kgone hore a re hlalosetse mabaka a hore hobaneng re le mona
And the purpose.
ha mmoho le maikaelelo a rona.
Now, Honorable Kanjo will have to speak in English because I can't negili juedi so skatlo ha itolo kantate. Negili juedi ti akere gore ha monate ka lebaka lila. Akere la ngutla. Ha monate ka taba ila. Gore tla tshwanna go bua ka sekgowa. Akere Honorable Kanjo. I think I'm ngoku Honorable Kanjo.
Thank you, Chair. Let me greet everyone in the House. I think, Chair, we have forgotten the apologies of other members. Let me first start with that. We have apologies from Honorable Singh, who is representing IFP. He's also a member of this committee. We also have an apology from Honorable Weber. She was with us yesterday, representing TA, and also Honorable Winkler. She is also representing TA. Honorable Paulson, representing EFF. They all submitted apologies. They could not form part of this. Also Honorable Olomisa from UTM. He also submitted an apology. We also have a team of officials from Parliament. We have our secretariat. They are seated there. Can you all stand up? Yeah, they are from Parliament. We have our technical team and communications. Can you all stand up? They are from Parliament as well. We also have our protection services. Some of them, you might have seen them when you were entering, they were assisting in registration. So we are that team of Parliament. I do not want us not to acknowledge they are present because it is also important that they are here. Chairperson has mentioned that we were supposed to be welcomed by councillor or the mayor. Oh, okay. Just on time, MMC Ngobese has just arrived. I would request him to welcome us so that we can relax and feel free.
MMC wa rona o setse a fihlile re rata hore pele re tswella pele re mo fe sebaka sa hore a re amohele hore re kgone hore re tswelle pele ka ditaba tsa rona.
When they call hit the road running, that's exactly what they mean. A very good morning to our leadership here. I'm not going to waste any time. I'm sorry, to arrive a bit late. I'm from Ward 61. We had a public meeting there. There are a lot of challenges as far as the human settlement is concerned. As an MMC for human settlement in the city of Eguruleni, I had to go and attend to that.
Ke rata hore ke le lebohe ke le dumedise kaofela ke kopa hore le ntshwareleng ha le mona ke tlile ka mora nako re na le workshop re ne re le ho yona empa he ke ile ka tloha ka re ke tle mona hobane re na le mathatanyana mo lefapheng la rona la tsa matlo ne re lo sekasekana le yona ntlha eo.
My job is to, on behalf of the executive mayor, Alderwoman Tanya Campbell, is to welcome everyone who's here and please enjoy the duration of the meeting. I will try and stay as much as possible to ensure that our visitors, our dignitaries are well taken care of by our officials going forward. But you are all welcome. Thank you.
Ke rata hore bo lehatong la executive mayor Tanya Campbell hore ke lebohe kaofela hore le be teng kopanong ena ke lebohe le bahlomphehi le nna ke tlo ba teng ke tlo dula mo kopanong e hore ke khone hore ke hlokomele bahlomphehi ba rona ba parlamente ke a leboha haholo.
Thank you, Councillor. You arrived when I was about to do the purpose.
Ke a leboha councillor o fihlile ka nako e le hore ne se ke re ka qala ka maikailelo a molaotheo ka molao ona.
And the chairperson in his overview just mentioned that you are here because of climate change.
Modulasetulo setse a buile he hore re tlo bua he ka o fetoha ha maemo a bosa jwale nna he ke tlo re ke le tsipela hanyane hore ke mabapi le eng.
We all know that climate change is impacting South Africa.
Re a tseba hore climate change yona hona le ditlamorao tse leng teng tse sentle mo Afrika Borwa.
It is causing droughts, crop failures, livestock deaths, and loss of lives from floods and heat waves.
Hona le ditlamorao tse ngata tse leng hore di ba teng le hore o tshwana le ho swa ha diphoofolo le dilemo hape le hore ho ba le merwalela e bang teng.
We have witnessed that in KZN during floods and also in Northern Cape. There's people, farm workers who died because of heat.
Rilera itemohela seno ko KZN le ko Northern Cape hona le ba sebetsa mapolasing ba ile hore ba ile ba hlokofala.
It is also causing vulnerability in areas such as biodiversity, agriculture, water, settlements, infrastructure, energy, health, and a worsening poverty, unemployment, and inequality.
Ebile hape ina le hona le ditlamorao tse ngata tse ile hore di teng ka baka la ho fetoha ha maemo ana a bosa ebile e tsweletsa pele hape le bohuma le mathatanyana a mang a ile hore a teng mo setjhabeng sa rona mona Afrika Borwa.
So that is why collaboration between stakeholders and all spheres of government is necessary to reduce these vulnerabilities and also to reduce drivers of climate change. And that will also help us to improve communication and awareness.
Ke ka ho le bohlokwa hore ho be le ho sebedisana mo mahatong a fapaneng a puso hore re kgone hore re shebane le ditlamoraho tseo tsa ho fetoha ha seemo sa bosa hore re kgone hore re thibelle ditlamoraho tseno.
So we feel happy, Councillor, when we see your presence, because we all have to work together in trying to keep this.
Re a leboha ha re bona MMC a le teng hobane re tshwanetse re sebedisane mabapi le yona taba ena.
And our constitution, as well as our international agreements, such as Kyoto Protocol and Paris Agreement, compels us to take steps to reduce carbon emissions and improve lives under the climate conditions.
molaotheo wa rona le ditumellano tsa ditumellano tsa rena le tsona o tshwana le ya Kyoto le ya Paris di a re hapeletsa hore re sebetse re nke dikgato tse ileng hore di tlo kgona hore di thibelle ditlamorao tseo tsa ho fetofetoha ha boemo ba bosa.
This meeting is part of the first process of developing overarching legislation to address the realities of climate change in South Africa.
Kopano ena ya rona ke kgato e nngwe e re nkang ya hore re kgone hore re shebane le wana mathata a o tshwana le ao a ileng hore a bakwa ke tsona ditlamorao tsa ho fetoha ha maemo a bosa mona Afrika Borwa.
Public input is essential to formulate a law that aligns with the aspiration of every citizen of South Africa.
Ho nka karolo ha setjhaba ho bohlokwa haholo fela hore re kgone hore re etse melao e leng hore e etsa hore Afrika Borwa e kgone hore e nke dikgato tsa hore re thibelle ditlamorao tseno.
That is why it is important for us to hold these kind of gatherings.
Ke ka ho leng bohlokwa ho rona hore re be le dikopano tse tshwanang le tsena le setjhaba.
Therefore, feel free to express your views on any aspects of the bill, such as definitions, policy alignments, institutional arrangements, climate responses by provinces and municipalities, national adaptation efforts, regulation of population, penalties, and transitional arrangements.
Ke ka ho leng bohlokwa hore re tshwantse hore re shebelle dintlha tse le hore di teng mo molaong o e le hore ro shebile hore re kgone hore re thibele dilo tseo hore ho be le molao ho be le dikohlaho tse leng teng le hore ho be le molao ya tsamaiso hore dintho di tshwantse hore di etsuwe byang re kgone hore re thuse re be le lenaneo la naga hore le hore le tlo shebana le hore re thibele ditlamorao tse le hore di ka ba teng ka baka la phetoho ya maemo a bosa.
And be assured that your views matter to us as Parliament.
Le lokolohe hore le kantsha maikutlo a lona le be le ebile ra le netefatsa hore seo le tlo se buang ke ntho tse bohlokwa haholo ho rona re le Parliament.
Once again, thank you for honoring this gathering, and we are looking forward to hearing your views. And the departmental official will highlight the key aspects of the bill. Thank you, Chair.
Re a leboha haholo ha le tlile mona hore le tlo mamela le hore le ntshe maikutlo a lona ka taba ya molaokakanywa ona o re tlo buang ka ona ka jeko. Re a leboha hona le o ileng hore o tswa go lefapheng o ile hore yena o tlo re tlhalosetsa dintlha tseo tse ileng hore di teng mo molaokakanyong ono. Ke a leboha haholo modulasetulo.
Re a leboga Honorable Kancho.
Thank you so much, Honorable Kancho.
Re leboga go menagana.
We thank you strongly.
Hai. Re leboga go menagana.
We thank you very much.
Yes, sounds better. Imagine you thinking strongly. Welcome, Councillor.
Go amohele mo kanselara.
Whether you are here or you are not here, siaqo.
Ho sa tsotele hore na ona le rona kapa ha uyo, rona re tswela pele le
I
mosebetsi.
nente re tsamaile ntate. Mokgorna re batlo welcome you, re welcome wena.
We don't want to be welcomed, we welcoming you now.
We are welcoming him in his own city.
Re amohela yena toropong ya hae.
Yeah. The councillor is not very important. You are.
Mo kanselara ha bohlokwa haholo, lona ke lona batho ba bohlokwa hadi.
We are not very important. You are.
Le rona ka bo rona re le committee ha re bohlokwa haholo, ke lona batho ba bohlokwa hadi haholo.
Le monate ka tabeo.
Are you happy with that?
Le grant. Ka re santse le bata man. Oh, ke a dlala ge. How your councillor is important.
I was just kidding, your councillor is important.
Can you put a smile at least?
Na le ka bo sosela hanyane,
Eh?
le bontshe po sosela.
mare le yena man mona wa gopola taba e le ya honorable Dlamini sky toloka taba e le ya honorable Dlamini la e gopola la mona mos so ha ebane le tla mmolella morago mare in the meantime let's proceed. Thabang, you ready?
Ke rata ke dumedisa motsamaisa tirelo wa rena Chairperson Ntibi Modise.
I want to thank our Chairperson Ntibi Modise, the program director.
Ke ho Ntate Dlamini, Honorable Dlamini,
Ke leboya hape le mohlomphehi Dlamini,
Honorable Mkhunu,
mohlomphehi Mchunu,
Honorable Kanto,
mohlomphehi Kanjo,
Councillor Ngobese,
le mokhanselara Ngobese,
ke tle ka Honorable Mbatha,
ke tle ka mohlomphehi Mbata,
le Honorable Bryant.
le mohlomphehi Bright.
Ke boe ke dumedise badiri le nna from the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment.
I want to also thank my colleagues in the Department of Fisheries and Environment.
Ke boe gape ke dumedise ba ba tswang mo Gauteng Department.
And also I want to greet those who are from the Gauteng Department.
Ke boe ke akaretse setšhaba kaofela ha sona sa mo Katlehong.
And also the whole citizens of here, Katlehong.
Chairperson, you will forgive me. I was told in the beginning that since Limpopo, I've been saying ke ngwanamo, ke ngwanamo, ke ngwanamo all over. And so, so no, I'm deciding I'm leaving that to you because we say mo, ke kasi ya hao, so ke itloela mo.
So you will forgive me, Chairperson, because now you said this is where you grew up in this township. So this matter that I've been told in the morning, I will just leave it to you.
What is this climate change that we're talking about?
Na ibe phetoho ena ya climate e re buang ka yona e bolelang ha e le hantle.
When we talk about climate change, we refer to the long-term shifts in temperatures and weather patterns.
Ha re bua ka phetoho ya climate re bua ka mekgahlelo ya bolipi ha e stana le ho fetofetoha ha bolipi.
And this is mainly caused by human activities.
Sena se bakwa haholoholo hape ke diketso tsa batho.
And these human activities is as a result of burning fossil fuels.
Sena ke ka baka la ditlamorao tsa ho tjhesa dibaka tse kang jwang bo boholo.
Fossil fuels include coal, it would include oil, it would include gas.
Di kofuto tseno di akarelletsa oli, di akarelletsa patsi ha e stana le gas.
Now these gases trap the heat in the atmosphere.
Di gas tsena di tshwara motjheso mona sepakapakeng.
And they form a blanket, and that is why we refer to global warming.
Ebe jwale di baka kobo e bakang hore ho be le motjheso o feteletseng.
Now I know, or the most prominent one that we always talk to is carbon dioxide.
Ke a tseba hore e re buang haholo ka yona ke gas e bitswang ka carbon dioxide.
But there are other gases like nitrous oxide and methane
Hona le di gas tse ding jwalo ka nitrous oxide ha e stana le methane
and other carbons.
le di carbon tse ding hape.
Now, Kaure Honorable Ganjo is from the Eastern Cape. I'm just going to give a practical example of how communities are responding to these effects or negative effects of climate change.
Hobane mohlomphehi Kantsho tswa Eastern Cape ke tla fana fela ka ha kgutshwanyane ka makolopetso a hore na batho ba angwa jwang ke boemo bona ba phetoho ya climate.
It's not too far. How reka into Oya Butterworth, Ole Mondabagazi, hona le pleke ka mo ba re ke Ngamako.
Ha o le mane, when you are there in Butterworth, near Butterworth, there's a place that is called Ngamako.
Ngamakwe ke community e ka tshwanang le rona mo Katlehong.
Namako is a community like ours here in Katlehong.
Now, you would have heard on TV, on radio about a permanent a drought in the Eastern Cape, or a permanent day zero, they call it.
Mohlomong le la utlwa ho di television tsa lona ho bua ka komello ya nako e tletseng kapa ya moshwelella mane Eastern Cape.
It's the same in Amatole district and Ngamakwe area.
Ho jwalo le ka Ngamakwa district ha istana le ditulo tse potolohileng moo.
Re ile ra dula le setjhaba sa moo, re etsa what we call co-creation of interventions.
We've stayed there with that residents there, and we made a certain program that is called.
Now, this co-creation process required us to sit with the community and design projects around water insecurity or water security.
Lenaneo lena la ho ikopanya le setjhaba li ne le hloka hore re ke re tshohle ditaba tse mabapi le polokeho ya metsi ha istana le polokeho ya setjhaba.
In essence, what I'm saying is that you, as the community member, are feeling the negative effects of climate change, just as they are.
Ntho e ke e bolelang hantle ke hore le lona le amehile haholo ke ditlamorao tsa phethoho ena ya climate jwalo fela ka bona.
Now, together with them, they decided we want to have interventions on the ground that speaks to our catchment or our water catchment areas.
Re le mmoho le bona re ile ra bona hore ho betere hore re ke re kopaneng bakeng sa ho lo tshotla taba ena ya dibaka tsena tse amehileng tsa metsi tikolohong eno no.
And then we had a basket of ideas. Some would be climate change related and others would be otherwise.
Re ile ra ba hele maano a mangata re bontshana ntho tse ding tse ne re bontshana ka tsona haholoholo ne le tsona tsa phetoho ya climate le tse ding hape tse ding tse ne re bua ka tsona.
Now we ended up coming up with ecological solutions for that particular community to implement so that they can start saving water.
Re ile ra tla he jwalo le maano a hore ho be le tharollo ya ho boloka metsi le hore ho be le tsela ya hore metsi a ske a sengwa jwalo ka ha ile sebaka se haellang ke metsi.
Now the Katlehong dam, it's an important source of water. It releases the Gcuwa way, which also then helps part of Emonti, East London and Butterworth with water.
Sebaka sena sa Gcuwa se ke letamo se na le letamo le kgonang ho thusa dibaka tse leng haufinyana jwalo ka bo Gcuwa, Butterworth jwalo jwalo.
Now, understanding the problems in the community also led to us having those ecological solutions or interventions.
Ho utlwisisa bothata bona bo leng teng setjhabeng sena ho ile re thusa hore re kgone ho tla le maano ana a ho lokisa bothata bona ba kgaello ya metsi.
Now, there's a reason, Chairperson, why I spend a bit of time on this.
E hona le lebaka modulasetulo hore ebe ke tlataba ena nakwana.
Because we really need to understand these effects of climate change.
Hoba re lokela ho utlwisisa di tsela eo climate change ena kapa o fetoha ha climate ho sebetsang ka teng.
Now that we understand what this climate change is,
Hona jwale ke tshepa ho utlwisisa hore na ke eng phetoho ya climate.
what is this bill in relation to climate change?
Jwale bill ena yona ke eng ha o tluwa tabeng ena ya phetoho ya climate.
The bill enables us to justly transition to a low carbon and a climate resilient economy and society.
Bill ena e re thusa hore re kgone hore jwalo ka setjhaba re tsamaisane le nako e re leng ho yona le ho nahanela moruo hore na re ka e sebedisa jwang moruong hore na le ngwana wa naha.
And also helps us or enables us to respond effectively to these negative climate impacts that we're talking about.
Le ho re thusa hape le hore re kgone ho lwantshana le ditlamorao tsena tsa phetoho ya climate e re buang ka yona hona jwale.
It provides for a coordinated and integrated response to climate change.
E fana hape le ka monyetla o kopanetsweng le tsela ya ho bontshana ha o tluwa tabeng ena ya phetoho ya climate.
Which means the pockets of work or interventions that the different colleagues in different areas, in different spaces in the country are now streamlined and well coordinated.
Ho bonahala he hore ka tsela e jwalo tsela e leng hore meralo e leng teng naheng le dibakeng tse ding jwalo le baahing moralo ona o sontso o kopantshitswe hantle ebile o hlophisehile ka tsela e tlo sebetsang.
This means this is an effort for us to create a well-oiled machine.
Sena se bontsha hantle hore ke boiteko ba rona hore re kgone ho ba le tsamaiso e tla tsamayang ka tsela e atlehileng.
Those gases that we spoke about,
Dikgase tsena tse re buileng ka tsona,
this is also an effort or a global effort to stabilize those greenhouse gases in the atmosphere.
yena ke boiteko ba lefatshe lohle hore ho lwantshane le taba ena ya dikgase tsena tse leng hore di tletse mona lefatsheng.
Now, Honorable Ganjo spoke to the Kyoto Protocol and the Paris Agreement.
Mohlomphehi Kantjo o ile a bua ka tumelano tsa Kyoto haistana le tsa Paris.
Now, because we are signatories, it means that we have commitments and obligations then to report internationally.
Ka baka la seo he re na le boikarabelo ba hore le rona re fane ka tlaleho e seng mona fela empa haistana le lefatshe ka bophara.
And this bill also is an effort to effect that.
Mme bili ena ke e nngwe ya ditsela tsa ho netefatsa hore seo se a etsahala.
Now, Chairperson, when we came on in the morning, I saw a lot of people drinking Dragon and Red Bull and.
Ha ke tla o seng mona modulasetulo ke bone batho ba bangata tseleng mona ba nwa Dragon le di Red Bull jwalo jwalo.
So I thought it means they stayed up the whole night reading the bill.
Ka be se ke itjwetsa hore fela ba dutse kapa ba dutse bosiu kaofela ba ntse ba balana le bele
So
ena.
I decided I'm not going to spend a long time on the chapters and the contents of the bill.
Ka be se ke tsa qeta hore nkekebe ka senya nako ntse ke hlalosa bili ena hoba ba sentse ba e badile.
The bill consists of 6 chapters
Bili ena ena le dikgaolo tse tsheletseng.
and then it ends with 5 schedules.
Me e fella ka dikarolo kapa dipolelwana tse hlano.
Chapter 1 is around interpretations, objects and applications.
Karolo ya pele e mabapi le phetolelo haistana le maikemisetso.
There the bill is just setting the scene, it's talking to definitions and then conflicting laws.
E boela hape e bue le ka ditlhaloso haistana le melawana e tshwanetseng.
Chapter 2 talks to policy alignment and institutional arrangements.
Ya bobedi yona kgaolo e bua ka melawana haistana le tsela e ho lokelang ho sejetswa ka yona.
There it talks to how intergovernmental structures should be amended to incorporate climate change in their mandate.
E bua ka hore na meralo ya mmuso e sebetsa jwang bakeng sa ho lwantshana le bothata bona ba phetoho ya climate.
Those would be provincial and municipal forums.
Mme tsenono ke ditheho tsa masepala haistana le tsa province.
And then there's a presidential climate commission that is also included as part of that chapter.
Hape hona le commission hape ya kantoro ya mo presidente e leng hore le yona e kentse letsoho tabeng ena phetoho ya climate.
Chapter 3
Polelwano ya boraro
speaks to climate change response for provinces and municipalities.
e bua ka phetoho ya climate e leng hore ho kenela bo masepala haistana le di province.
And this speaks to how provinces and local government will respond to climate change. So this one speaks to your local government climate change support programs and the sector programs that have been in effect already.
E bua hape le ka ditlamo se jwalo ka setlamo se leng teng sa ho thusa tabeng ena ya ho phetoho ya climate haistana le masepala jwalo ka ha le ena ke ntse letsoho.
Chapter 4 speaks to national adaptation to the impacts of climate change.
Ya bone yona polelwana e bua ka setjhaba hore na se kenela jwang tabeng ena ya phetoho ya climate.
And now this one speaks to the overarching framework that we have.
Yena he e bua ka moralo o moholohadi o re nang le ngona ho tla utlwa tabeng ena.
Which is the National Climate Change Adaptation Strategy.
E leng leano la setjhaba kapa la naha yohle la phetoho ya climate.
Because we have policy that has been driving this since the response policy of 2011.
Hoba ntse re na le melawana e ntse e tswela pele sejediswa ho tlohela selemong sa 2011 mabapi le phetoho ya climate.
And therefore this chapter looks at that.
Ka hona kgaolo enono e tshwahla taba eo.
Chapter 5 talks to green movals.
Ya bohlano yona e bua ka dikgase tsena tse leng teng lefatsheng le ho tloswa ha tsona.
And this speaks to 2 things.
Yena e tshwahla ntho tse pedi.
It speaks to the line sector departments, provinces and local government.
E bua ka mafapha a leng teng ho mmuso haistana le mmuso wa selehae.
On sectoral emission targets.
le dipakane tse leng teng ho ya ka ditheo kapa ditlamo tse leng teng.
So how they should be regulating their emissions as sectoral, as line sector departments and provinces and local government.
Hore na ba tla fokotsa jwang le bona kapa ho qeta phetoho ya climate kapa ya di gase tsena tse leng teng jwalo ka mmuso jwalo ka masepala.
The second part talks to carbon budgets.
Ya bobedi he yona karolo e bua ka carbon budgets.
And these are for big emitters.
Tseo tsona ke tsa batho ba hlahisang di gase tsena haholo.
To be limited within a certain budget of emissions.
Hore ebe jwale ba fokoletswa kapa ba kenywa hara sebaka se leng hore ba tla fokotsa di gase tsena.
It's like at home where you have a budget.
Ho jwalo ka lapeng ha ona le budget.
If you have a budget and you spend it, that means you can't go out tomorrow night.
Ha ona le budget wa e sebedisa sena se bontsha hore o kekebe wa hlola o kgona ho ya monateng mohlomong tsatsi le latelang.
So you are limited within a certain limit.
Ka hona o kwalletswe ho qeto e itseng.
Chapter 6,
Ya botshelela
it's on general matters and transitional arrangements.
ke taba tse tlwaelehileng ha istana le ditaba tse lokelang ho tshohlwa.
It talks to regulations, penalties, and appeals to those penalties.
E bua ka dimelawana, e bua ka boipilaetso ha istana le dikotlo tse ka bang teng.
And then the bill ends with schedules that talk to functions of relevant, or functions that are relevant to the development of sectoral emission targets.
Bilena hape e bua ka melao e leng teng bakeng sa dipakane tse beilweng hore na melao eo ya latellwa na.
Now, what does this mean for you as the community?
Sena se bolelang ho lona he jwalo ka baahi.
It means that, so if you support this bill,
Sena se bolela hore ha o tshehetsa bile ena kapa o dumelana le yona.
climate change is no longer a by the way matter for local government.
Phetho ya climate e kekebe ya ba bothata jwalo kapa kobwanela mmusong wa selehae.
It is now a mandate,
Hona jwale tjena e tla ba ntho e leng hore e tshotluwe.
because we've heard from local government, from local municipalities, that climate change is unfunded and therefore not a priority before.
Re utlwile hore masepaleng taba ena ya phetho ya climate ha o tsetelo ho yona e leng taba eo re utlwile.
So that is changing.
Ka hona seno se tla fetoha.
Also, the efforts by the different institutions that have been working around the climate change,
Boiteko bo entsweng ke ditlamo tse fapafapaneng bakeng sa ho tshotla bothata bona ba phetho ya climate.
can now be properly coordinated.
Me di tla hokahanywa hantle semmuso.
This one is also important. It means that the climate change impacts and related challenges experienced on the ground
Ile ke bohlokwa haholo yena hobane e tshotla phepetso ya phetho ya climate hona mona jwalo ka ha re bua.
it can find attention through these district intergovernmental forums and the existing premier intergovernmental forums.
E ka fumana ho hapa thasello ho di foramo kapa mekgatlo e leng teng e tshotlang taba ena phetho ya climate ha istana le kantoro ya mopremiere tabeng e jwalo.
So it's bottom up.
Ka hona ke ho tloha fatshe ho ya hodimo.
So as the community, when we are feeling these ill effects of climate change from the structures on the ground up, it can then find its way up to the president's coordinating committee.
Hore jwalo ka ha le lefatshe jwalo ka baahi jwalo ka le angwe haholo ke taba ena phetho ya climate sena se tla etsa hore taba ena e tsamaye e hodimo e be e fihle ho komiti ya mo presidente e mabapi le taba tsa phetho ya climate.
Councillor,
Mo councilor
this one is for you.
ena ke siela marapo ho wena.
If you support this bill, it means MECs responsible for the environment and mayors of districts or metros are empowered by certain clauses to undertake implementation of climate change on the ground.
Sena ha ile hore le dumelana le bill ena sena se bontsha hore MMC kapa le tona la toropo le tla kgona hore le be le bikarabelo ba ho etsa bonnete ba hore ka nnete bili ena e tswela pele, e ntshetswa pele le meralo e leng teng.
And this is through the integrated development plans, the environmental implementation plans.
Mme sena ke se leng hore ke meralo le maano a leng teng bakeng sa tikoloho haistana le ho kenngwa tshebetsong ha ona.
A message to Councillor Tanya Campbell.
Ke kopa o fetisetse molaetsa ho Mme Tanya Campbell.
The minister will also be empowered to take certain decisions on sectoral emission targets as well as these carbon budgets that we're talking about.
Letona le lona le tla ba le tokelo ya ho nka ho etsa diqeto ho ditaba tsena se ntse re buile ka tsona tsa phetoho ya climate ho ditlamo tse leng teng mmusong.
We know that there has been work since 2011, since the response policy.
Re a tseba hore ha esale mosebetsi o thakgwa ho tloha ka 2011 mabapi le melawana e leng teng.
Although this work has been done,
Le hoja mosebetsi ona o entswe,
now we know that climate change has found a seat at the table.
empa hona jwale tjenana re a tseba hore taba ya phetoho ya climate e sentse e nkelwa hlooho
For a more coordinated response.
bakeng sa bohokahanyi kapa ho kopaneleng ha yona e hokahantswe hantle.
I thank you, Chairperson.
Ke o leboha haholo modulasetulo.
Le motlwile or ke mmitse gape
Nimzwile noma nifisa phinde?
nimzwile or nifisa ngiphinde nimzwile we were in KwaZulu-Natal last week. Everything else was everything. Sanbonan Sawubona momkhulu Thank you very much, Thaban.
Siyabonga kakhulu. Tama.
We have spoken enough.
Ayike sesikhulumile thina.
We want you to talk to us.
Sesifuna ukuba sizwe nina ke manje.
Le shapo ka tabeng.
Nikulungele lokho?
Ba re ba le bonile nwa di what. Hai andazi nna ke mo metsing. Kutwa the Red Bull, the Dragon. Yeah. Tabe the Dragon e batla re latelle. Manna ke mo metsing. Honorable Bryant.
Hlonipheki uBryant.
Ungangisabi, ungayitoliki. Ungangisabi Honorable Bryant. Stella nangamanzi manje. How do we move from here?
Thanks very much, Chairperson.
Siyabonga kakhulu.
All right, so it's almost time to hear from all of you
Manje
what your
sekuyis-
views are.
Sekuyisikhathi sokuba manje sizwe nina silalele uvo lwenu.
The reason we are here is to hear your perspectives and your inputs on the climate change bill.
Silapha ukuze sizwe ukuthi nina niyibona kanjani le ndaba yalomthetho sivivinyo wokuguquguquka kwesimo sezulu.
You can make these submissions in two different ways.
Kunezindlela ezimbili ke zokuthumela izethulo zenu.
Either as an oral submission by standing up at the front and speaking on the microphone,
Enye yokundlela yokuqala ningase nithanda ukuyisebenzisa ukuthi nize nizoma lapha ngaphambili bese nenza izethulo zenu.
or if you'd prefer to do so, you can go to the officials on that side and they will give you a piece of paper and you can fill your input in there.
Kanti ke futhi manithanda ningeza ngapha ngakwesokudla kubasebenzi bakahulumeni abangapha bazoninikeza amaphepha enizowagcwalisa bese nithumela futhi izethulo zenu.
Please remember when you speak to introduce yourself and what organization you're from, if you're from an organization.
Okokuqala sicela nikhumbule ukuthi uma uza lapha uzethula qala uzisho ukuthi ungubani nokuthi uvela noma umelela yipi inhlangano.
And then after that, at some stage, either at the beginning or the end, if you can please tell us whether you support the bill or not.
Ngemva kwalokho ngaphambi kokuthi uqede kungaba sekuqaleni noma ngasekugcineni sicela usho ukuthi uyayisekela yini lo mthetho sivivinyo noma awusekeli.
I'll now hand back to the chairperson who will begin the process of asking for hands. Thank you.
Ngizobuyisela izintambo kusihlalo kubaqhubeka sichazele inqubo ezolandelwa.
Thank you, Honorable Bryant.
Siyabonga mhlonipheka uBryant.
Nibasabana belungu, ungayitoloki. Honorable Bryant, where do we start? Do we start here? Do we start at the back? Do we start here?
Siqala ngakuphi mhlonipheka uBryant? Ngapha noma ngapha?
Or starting nje izandla in general? Yeah, because I think we're not many. Asikho baningi kakhulu. So singaphakamisa izandla. When I note you, uzala kule itulo, banitshelile ukuthi siqala ngawe ba.
Because we are few, you can just raise your hand. Then if I point you, then you can come and sit here on the chair.
Do we have? Go ahead. Do we have more? All right. Sizobuya baba ne. Next, Masqali ba.
Sanibonani.
Greetings.
Qala ngithanda ukubonga ukuthi sivakashelwa ama-parliamentarians eKoruleni.
Thank you so much, first of all, for have our visitors here, members of parliament among us.
And okwesibili ngithanda ukubonga umphakathi ukuthi uvele mara itulo zi-empty.
Secondly, I want to thank the community, even though I can see empty seats.
Mina igama nguSandile kaNombeni.
My name is Sandile Nombeni.
Ngibuya ku community-based organization which is based eKwathema Springs.
I come from the community-based organization that is in Kwatema from Springs.
Igama layo Green Environmental Movement.
The name of the organization is Green Environmental
Heart
Movement.
And I'm also a national coordinator South African Water Caucus.
Ngiphinde futhi ngibe umxhumanisi we South African National Caucus.
And also a member of the South African Climate Action Network.
Ngiphinde futhi ngibe ilungu le South African Climate Nation Network.
Okokuqala ngithanda ukuveza ukuthi I think ngesingami I actually don't support the bill. One.
Firstly, I would like to say I do not support the bill.
And isizathu saloko I think for one, as nizile baholi bethu elokishini kithi nizositshela ngebill, I think this process is just for ticking the boxes ukuthi nizile.
The reason for that, as you are here as our leaders, this process is just for you just to make a tick that you came here.
The reason ukuthi ngisho kanjalo it's because of one, if umphakathi knew the relevance and the importance of the bill, kube zonke le itulo because majority itulo zidlula abantu la eholweni.
The reason why I say that if the community knew that you will be with us here, all these seats here should be full by now.
Okwesibili, I think umfowethu simzwile maka explain ibill, mina mangumamela I feel as if ngimamele lo mama njalo waka Vodacom ohlala ngitshela ukuthi your airtime is now finished, you need to recharge. Umshini oprogrammiwe because into umsebenzi wakhe into ayibhadalelwayo. Because of thina samalungu omphakathi, we don't know anything. with what he was explaining. None of community members know what is a carbon tax. There's never been workshops around the issues of carbon tax. There's never been issues around your workshops and trainings around the proper bill in communities. Which is why the reason I'm saying I feel ukuthi nina nizela nizodlulisa nje amabhokisi. Because indawo yethu ekuhlaleni ingcolile council. Indawo yakhe ingcolile council. Ngibuye ethema mangena ama streams ampunga kunuka isorage emhlangeni. Number 2 ilokishi ingcolile utshani bukhulu. Government akasenzele next kuzondluliswa nje ngoba next year kiwa kuma elections. This is just a process of campaigning, in other words.
Engizama ukusho nje kafushane ukuthi konke lokho kwenziwa lapha iParliamente kumane nje kuwenzelwa ukugcina icala nje ukuthi kwenziwe ngempela. Isizathu salokho ukuthi akukho abantu abayabafundiswa njengomphakathi asazilutho thina ukuthi kuyini khona ukungcoliswa kumoya, ayini ama carbon, zonke lezo zinto asizazi. Sicabanga ukuthi nje manje sekuzelwa because next year there are elections, so that's why we are here. Otherwise kithi lokhu sikubheka nje njengokumane kugcinwa icala. Mina ngisuka eThema ngesikhathi ngiza ungabona ukungcola okukhona, and kuwe baba councillor lingcolile ngempela idolobha lakho sithi asikwazise lokho. Ngakho konke lokhu ngikubheka njengokugcina nje icala.
Okugcina ngithanda ukusho yoma ngimile la emayikini ngibheke umnyango ovuliwe la ngaphandle. The sky is not blue, but the sky is dusty because of the air pollution ekhona. From 2011 to 2021, which is 10 years. What has happened, there's never been an enforcement of climate change bill, policies, structures. There's no plans, there's nothing, no one knows about even the Ruleni climate bill responses.
As I'm standing here and look outside there, the sky is not blue, it's polluted. Ngakho kuyabonakala manje ukuthi akukho lutho olwenziwe, sekudlula iminyaka eyishumi kukhulunywa kodwa akukho lutho okwenziwayo ngakho.
Bengithanda ukuthi ngiyabonga ngicela ukuthi niphinde nibuye futhi nicabangisisa kahle ukuthi enebenikuzele bekuyini, niqalele phansi the process, nibuye nizokhuluma nomphakathi niwufundise ekucala because awukwazi ukuvela ukuthi uzokhuluma nathi ngento esingayazi. This is like isiziphathi sizemcimbini sizodla nje KFC sibabonile bangena ngaphandle negubhu zamanzi angcolile. Ngiyabonga.
Thank you, and I want to say to you, please try and come back once again. But what is most important is to teach us so that we will know, because otherwise too many of us, it's just like we came to the party here to enjoy the KFC.
Thank you, Butsandile. Before the second speaker, we just want to check whether some of the community members are aware that there was an advanced team that came a week before to come and educate the communities. We just want to find out whether did that team arrive.
Ngaphambi kokuba sethule isikhulumo esilandelayo sikhulume lapha, sithanda ukwazi ukuthi likhona yini ithimba elifikile ngaphambi kwethu ukuze lizonazisa ngalokho. Ilokho esifuna ukwazi kuqala ukuthi ingabe bakhona phakathi kwethu abalibonile ithimba elifikile ngaphambili.
There's hands, I see that. Oh, they came. Okay, that's what you want to find out. That's what you want to find out, whether did they come or not. Okay. You can speak, sis.
Sanbonani,
Greetings.
Njani, zokhuluma isiZulu ngusibongile wakandlovu.
My name is Sibongile Ndlovu.
Ngibuya eThembisa
I
khona
come
la
from
eKuruleni.
Tembisa, all here
Ngibuya
in
kwi
Ekurhuleni.
organization ebizwa ngokuthi Asithokoze Women and Children Outreach Program.
My organization
I
is
also affiliate with a forum that's called Women, Energy and Climate Change Forum, where a lot of workshops and dialogues and public participation are being organized to educate and do awarenesses regarding imatter climate change. Kodwa ke bengifuna ukuthi ngisizwile istory sakabhuti lesi simnandi sale eEastern Cape. Engingatholi kahle ukuthi abahlali bala eKuruleni eKatlehong esabo istory sithini makuza kule ndaba ye climate change ngoba ukuze sikwazi ukwenza ama contribution ku climate bill mele sazi esethu istory ukuthi thina la si affecteke kangakanani le climate change or how much are we impacted by the climate change ngoba kokuqala mawuhamba la kuma communities la mina ngihamba khona ngale forum senza le education and awareness uthola ukuthi abahlali nje kokuqala I climate change abayazi ukuthi yini so manje bazo contribute kanjani kwi bill ukuthi yona ngokwayi climate change abakakayazi ukuthi yini izolo bengise Orange Farm bacabanga ukuthi climate change I cancer.
Sorry sis, can we also give time to interpreters? Just speak and then pause, give an interpreter a chance.
I'm done,
Please.
ma'am. I'm done,
Okay.
ma'am. Just
Yeah.
wanted to
I'm
make
just
a comment
questioning
on-
other speakers that we allow the interpreters also. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll try to do some summary. The lady here, she was just explaining that she is working with a community and she really heard the story about Eastern Cape, what is happening in Eastern Cape. But now, what about our area here? What is happening here in our area? Is there any awareness to teach people? Because people, they don't understand. When you tell them about climate change, they don't know what is climate change. So that's the problem. Yes, yesterday she went to Orange Farm. When they were talking about the climate change, some, they thought that it's a cancer. So that's the story basically she was mentioning. So she wants to know, is there any awareness? Is there any programs to teach people here in our area?
Good morning, everybody.
Siyanibingelela nonke.
My name is Katlehong Dlamini
Igama lami uKhethukuthula Dlamini.
from Ward 41. I'm the LED in that area.
Ngivela ku Ward 51 khona endaweni.
41.
41.
Yebo. Okay, let me just greet all our honorable guests.
Mangibingelele
Large. Yeah.
zonke izivakashi zethu ezihloniphekile kanye nawo wonke umuntu okhona.
The gentleman here spoke about the bill and what climate change generally is, but from, okay.
Umnumzane lapha ukhulume kabanzi ngomthetho sivivinyo nokuthi uquketheni.
Unfortunately, from my understanding as an ordinary person, it's that his explanation was one which we can classify as a very high-level explanation, which does not speak to the common man on the streets, people like us.
Uma ngawuchaza ngendlela mina engiwuzwe ngayo ngesikhathi uchaza umbiko wakhe, indlela ongayo wethulwe ngayo uzwakala sengathi ukhuluma nabantu abaphezulu, abantu abafundile, abazi izinto ezinkulu, awukhulumi nathi thina abantu abaphansi esijwayelekile nje esiphila ukuphila okuvamile.
Which then explains why he said that the bill is, the position on climate change is a mandate, which is interesting because now it means we have put the cart before the horse. You know, we must first start with interaction with the people and then go and sign deals to say that, no, we are adopting or we are committing to such positions on climate change. But then instead we sign the commitments first and then we come and tell the people that, hey, we've signed this thing that side, so you guys must comply, which is rather problematic.
Manje osekuzwakale kuyinkinga ke njengoba kade chaza ngoba manje kubonakala sengathi izinto seziphendulelwe sekuqala ngokuthi siqale thina abantu sitshelwe ngalokho siqalwe ngokuthi asisayiniswe kuqala ukuthi sayinani nansi bill bese emva kwalokho sichazelwa ngayo kanti bekungalindeleka ukuthi akuhambe kuqondiswe izinto kuqale kufundiswe ngawo umthetho sivivinyo kube yima kuthiwa siyawusekela yini noma cha.
Okay. My main issue with the bill, rather, that I'd like to get clarity on, I don't know if there is a speaker available today that can clarify us on this matter.
Mina into engikhathazayo engifuna ukuyiqonda kahle ngokuphathelene nalomthetho sivivinyo angazi noma ukhona yini lapho ozokwazi ukungiphendula ngalokho engifuna ukukwazi.
The city of Ekurhuleni as a metro is a very industrialized area, meaning
Idolobha lase Kurhuleni lidolobha elinezimboni eziningi nje zona ngokwalo.
meaning, as the gentleman expressed himself earlier, I have a worry now how will that affect the industry that has built Ekurhuleni to what it is today and has brought us this far? Is that now going to reflect in such a way that these factories that have given our people livelihood, are they going to be now cut down by the legs so that they can't operate in this area? How is the bill aligned with regards to the industrialization of Ekurhuleni? Also in part is that in looking into the future of Ekurhuleni, are we now saying that we are stopping industrialization of Ekurhuleni? Are we no longer investing? Are we no longer inviting big companies to come and invest in industrializing Ekurhuleni going forward? And how then does that reflect in terms of the current crisis we are facing of unemployment? How does this bill now speak to that, and how does it align with that?
Engifuna ukwazi ke manje ngalomthetho sivivinyo okokuqala ukuthi idolobha leli lesikulo laseKurhuleni lize libe lapha nje kungenxa yezimboni ezikhona amafemu abafactory alibeke lapho elikhona njengamanje. Manje uma sesikhuluma ke ngalomthetho sivivinyo omusha ngifuna ukwazi ukuthi uzongena kanjani ukubhekana nalowo msebenzi, ngoba ingabe lo mthetho sivivinyo uzothi uma ufika bese uzivala zonke lezi zimboni. Uma kunjalo bese kuthiwani njengoba sibhekene nenkinga yokungasebenzi abantu behlele emakhaya? Iyona nto ke ngifuna ukucaciselwa kuyo ukuthi lo mthetho sivivinyo uzosebenza kanjani uma usebenzelana nezimboni ezibeke leli dolobha lapho likhona njengamanje.
And in the implementation of the bill in its subsectors where in the provincial and municipal, especially in Ekurhuleni, how is it possible that this bill is going to create employment to sort of balance the work that will now be shortcut in the industrial space? Now, how many jobs will this bill create for us when we commit to this idea of climate change, and we start to change the way we do, and we start limiting people and factories in how they operate themselves to meet the requirements of the bill? Will the bill also create work? Because that will definitely have an adverse effect on the people that are looking to be employed in this municipality.
Njengoba lo mthetho sivivinyo manje uzobe ubheka kunemkhakha ehlukahlukene ebheke isifundazwe nebhekwe omasipala. Umbuzo enginawo ukufuna ukwazi ukuthi lo mthetho sivivinyo uzowakha yini amathuba omsebenzi, ngoba phela manje kubonakala sengathi sekuzobekwa imingcele nembandela endleleni abantu abasebenza ngayo. Kodwa ingabe amathuba omsebenzi azovela yini ebangelwa yilo mthetho sivivinyo?
Okay, thank you. In closing, I'd like to say that I am against the bill purely for one reason. We are being forced into a conversation that, in my view, does not affect us. The emissions in South Africa, if South Africa were not to exist for the next 30 years and not exist at all, the difference it would make to the global emissions is not even significant at all. So now we are moving into a corner where we are supposed to change our daily lives to suit a global agenda that does not suit us as South Africans. This bill is a bill that is thought of and planned in countries whereas they've been in the third industrial revolution for the past 40 years. They are moving into their fourth industrial revolution. We are still grappling with our third industrial revolution. These countries are well ahead of us economically, well ahead of us technologically. Now that they've achieved what they've achieved, they want to come back and tell us, so-called third world countries, that no, you guys can't do that, you guys must cut this and so on. When are we to develop, when we are signing into agreements that then shortchange us as the people of South Africa? So I am against this bill because I don't think it benefits the people of the South Africa outside of parliament or those structures, whereas they want to look nice to the rest of the world while we suffer here. Thank you.
Sengo, uma ngubheka lo mthetho sivivinyo uyabonakala ukuthi uhlelwe kahle, wabhalwa kahle, wacatshangwa ngawo, kodwa kubonakala sengathi awusebenzi kahle lapha ezweni lakithi. Yikho kokubangela ukuthi ngingawusekeli noma ngingavumelani nawo. Kubonakala sengathi sivalelwe khoneni, saphoqelelwa manje ukuthi sivume into engasebenzi kulelizwe lakithi. Kuthathwe lo mthetho sivivinyo ususelwa emthethweni sivivinyo yakwamanye amazwe. Lapha sikhuluma ngamazwe asethuthukile kakhulu, abhekwa njengamazwe asekufinyelele konke. Manje kuthathwa lowo mthetho sivivinyo ulethwa la. Thina sekude kabi ukufinyelela umnotho ofinyelelwe lawo mazwe. Kuthiwa kusebenze lowo mthetho sivivinyo uzosebenza la kithi. Manje uma ngikubheka ke lokho kungenza ukuthi ngingavumelani nalomthetho sivivinyo obonakala uhlelwe kahle kanjalo kodwa ongasebenzi njengamanje kulelizwe lakithi nasesigabeni esikulona.
Two things. Very important that there's nothing wrong with people agreeing or disagreeing with the bill.
Kunezinto ezimbili ke. Alikho icala ukuthi uyawusekela noma uvumelana nawo umthetho sivivinyo noma uvumelani nawo.
That is what we call public consultation.
Ingakho phela sikubiza lokho ngokuthi yithangami zomphakathi.
Are we clear on that one? So nobody is forced onto anything.
Akho umuntu la ophoqelelwe ukuthi anqume ukwenza ukuthile.
Are we clear?
Kuyacaca.
Yeah, right. And we're not campaigning here.
Asikhankasi futhi nje.
It's not true. We're not campaigning. We're not in an election mood.
Asizile lapha ngoba sesicabanga ngokhetho.
Shem, elections are next year. We'll deal with that later.
Ukhetho lungunyaka ozayo solibona ngokuhamba kwesikhathi.
And this is not a DA team or an ANC team or an Inkatha team. We're a multi-party delegation of parliament.
Leli qembu enilibonayo akulona iqembu le DA noma le ANC noma le IFP. Iqembu leli elixube inhlangano ezihlukahlukene elivele eParliament.
Now, if you hold a view that climate change does not affect you, it's fine. We
Uma
respect
wena
your view.
ucabanga ukuthi ukuguquguquka kwesimo sezulu akukuthinti kulungile.
It's fine. We respect that as your view, but don't make it our view.
Siyakuhlonipha lokho njengombono wakho kodwa ungafuni ukuthi nathi sicabange kanjalo.
I'm not trying to channel you, my brother. I also respect your view, but I was just saying some of the things must be clarified. When you speak with authority on something you don't know, we must correct you. We have that duty.
Phonseli
Okay. All right. No problem. Qhubeka baba.
Sanbonani,
I greet you all.
sanbonani,
I greet you all.
ngumpho akathejani,
My name is Mpo Teshani.
mbuya eduduza,
I am from Duduza,
Ward 87.
Ward 87.
Ward committee also,
I'm a ward committee member as well.
yes. I-concern engenayo ngizwile ubhuti maka presenter lana, ukhuluma ngamadamu kakhulu, kubogcubeha nani nani.
I have a concern. I heard my brother speaking here. He was referring to dams in
Abogcubeha,
Gqeberha and so forth.
ukuthi abanye achithela kuphi, amanye achithela kuphi. But thina la eGauteng, ngikhumbula ukukhulunywa ngamadamu ukuthi achithela kuphi, achithela kuphi.
They were explaining where the water ends up at there in the Eastern Cape, but here in Gauteng, we do not have information about that, but where our water ends up coming out from.
Yes. Then siphinde sibuye futhi siyabonga ukuthi public participation inile thina.
We are grateful that you have brought this public participation here.
As a member of the ward committee, I want to check ukuthi as a members of parliament, do you recognize ukuthi kunama ward committee that asebenzisana namakhansela?
As a ward committee member, I would like to know whether you, as parliament, do you consider that there are ward committee members that are working with councillors?
And such things as environment engcolile, we do report in behalf of umphakathi.
And we do report issues concerning polluted environment on behalf of the community.
And as I see manje, ngibone ngathi azifiki kini kusho ukuthi ikhalo zethu ziphelela mhlambe ekuruleni kuphela kubo councillor ziye parliament.
But now it seems like the complaints or concerns that we report on do not reach you. It seems like they end up here at Egoroleni, they don't reach Parliament.
Why ngisho kanje? Sewa report ama legal dumping and what la wasikhosela lama pollutions.
The reason why I say that is because we do reports on illegal dumpings that are leading to this pollution.
Bese isithi izositshela ukuthi ayinamali.
But then the city tells us that they do not have funds.
But parliamentary tiye namhlanje izo pasisa ibill yokuthi sifila kanjani ngeclimate
But
change.
now Parliament is here today to pass a bill asking us how we feel about climate change.
Kukuthi sihlulwa ukususa udodi wokuqala oseduze.
While we are failing to remove rubbish that is just near us.
Then lastly ngizobuza ukuthi ezombuzo wami bothe niyasi recognize na.
My initial question was whether you do recognize us or not.
Singama ward committee when you do these trainings ukuthi kuwaziswa abantu because I think ithina siyilizing from the councillor to the community. We are the first to know ngalezinto. But nami I'm surprised lingize njengabo angazi next singama ward committee.
As a ward committee members, we are the liaison people between the community and the councillors. But now, I was also surprised. I'm here as a member of the community. I was not aware of this, just like the community.
Ama training yakhulunywa ngawo thina swanikwa but we part of assisting the government through ama councillors to kufika kubo MMC ukuthi yele but thina kithi ayifiki.
There was mentioning of trainings, but we as committee members are not aware of this. We are not informed of these trainings. We are not involved in these trainings which involve the MMCs and other people. We are not involved.
Bese ngivale ngibonge ukuthi ibill right but asazi ukuthi izosebenzela nawo rent endluliswayo.
Lastly,
Nizosebenza kanjani emphakathini lakithi as ba mentionile abanye abafowethu ukuthi mawungena kunqolile I think nani nizibonele.
Lastly, I'm okay with the bill, but I do not know how it will assist us or how it's going to affect us as the community. I believe that you also saw how dirty this place is as we're coming in.
And besingaba nesicelo ukuthi idoti ukuthi ingabi iningi isikhosela pollution. Sineyiganga ezizoniwe ukuthi ezinye zekole ezinye ama business what zihleli nje siyizo ezichithwa kuzo amadodi akubolekwe abantu for meantime bayenze something kule iganga kunokuthi zingcole kanje kubeni zingakhulu.
I wish that there could be plans of how to remove rubbish from our areas. There are dumping sites that have been zoned to be dumping sites, but then that is not happening. I wish that those places could be used better, in a better way than they are right now.
Especially for abantu be agriculture ngiyabonga.
Especially for agricultural people. Thank you.
Sanbonani. Igama lami uSabathini Okamdlowung, representing Community Empowerment Committee. I'm here standing on behalf of people base Ward 80 in Egoroleni. Firstly, I would like to call out Mr. Modise on the intervention that you just made. Number one, a lot of activists struggle to come in these kind of spaces because they fear to be intimidated. And then you find out that if they speak out, they get assassinated. Sabatini.
My name is Sabatini. I'm here. I would like to thank the members for coming here today. Sorry, Chairperson, she initially said she was speaking Sesotho, which is why I walked away. I apologize for that.
Okay, so for future references, may you please refrain from intimidating people that are here for public consultations.
Inkinga ekhona ukuthi abantu banokusatshiswa uma beza kule ndawo ngakho ngokuzayo ngiyafisa sengathi ningagwema ukusabisa abantu uma beze ezinkulumeni ke ezohlanganisa umphakathi.
Okay, firstly, I do not support the bill.
Okokuqala ke angiyiseli umthethosivivinyo.
Solely because South Africa has a lot of nice laws that are written down that are commended internationally.
Phela okokuqala nje ave iminingi imithetho lapha eSouth Africa ekhuluma kahle kodwa ke kuye kwenzeke okunye.
Implementation actually is a different issue than what is written on the
Uma ke
paper.
sekuthiwa mayiqaliswe lemithetho ayiqaliswa njengoba kulindelekile.
First reference now, speaking of Eastern Cape, it's a very nice topic for me as an activist.
Okokuqala ke nje akhona Eastern Cape isihloko esihle kakhulu ke kimi leso njengeshoshovu.
Taking reference of Amadiba Crisis Committee,
Uma sibheka ke udaba le-Amadiba Crisis Committee
where they won a case against Department of Mineral Resources and Energy back in 2018 for the right to say no to mining.
abawina icala ke ngo-2018 laliqondene nezokumbiwa phansi lapho bakwazi khona ukunqaba ukuthi kuvukuzwe endaweni yabo.
Taking note that mining is the biggest contributor of the carbon emissions that bring us here today.
Sibe sibheka ukuthi ezokuvukuzwa yizo ezihamba kaphambili ekutheni kudaleke iy'nkinga zokuphuma kulokho kwalokho okushisayo le okuyobamba ukushisa esibhakabhakeni okuyikona ke okusilethe kule ndawo esikuyona.
Their interventions are not in silos, they're in social media, we see them.
Zikhona iy'ndlela zokungenelela ezikhona ke njengoba siyibona sey'nkundleni zokuxhumana.
So the minister issued an environmental authorization for Shell to mine gas and oil in the coastal areas of Xolobeni.
Njengoba kukhona ke nakhona udaba kade lapha eGxobeni nakhona
Xolobeni.
eXholobeni nakhona bekade kubhekwe udaba lokuthi kuphazanyiswe ezemvelo lapho.
If they were able to fight for the right to say no, how is it possible that they're going to have exploration in their land?
Uma bakwazi ukuthi balwe bathi cha ngabe ke indawo yabo le akuzange kungenele ukuthi kuyohlolwa kuyo.
Now my concern is this one of the laws that are going to be written and not implemented?
Manje ungikhathaza ukuthi ingabe lo mthetho omunye wemithetho ezobhalwa besingaqaliswa.
Okay, back to the business of the day. So if I were to comment about the things that concern me as a citizen of Ekurhuleni,
Uma ke sengibuye ehlweni sanamhlanje ngikhuluma ngezinto ezingikhathazayo mina njengesakhamuzi salapha eGroleni.
it is to recognize that climate change does not affect us in the same way.
Ukwazisa ukuthi uguquguqulo lwesimo sezulu alusithinti sonke ngendlela efanayo.
And it would be appreciative to have a special unit that deals with the general response towards this climate change
Futhi
act.
bekungakuhle uma ngase kuqhamukeke kube khona nophiko oluqondene nawo lo mthethosivivinyo lo wokuguquguquko lwesimo sezulu.
Gender response.
Gender ngokokuhlukana kwabantu ke ngokobulili.
Okay, so number one, for indicators for measuring progress, my comment would be that there needs to be needs and response assessment should be reviewed yearly as opposed to 5 years.
Uma sesibheka indlela zokungenelela kudinga ukuthi sibe kunendlela ke ebuyekezwayo unyaka nonyaka ukuthi ingabe kungenelelwe ngendlela efanele na kunokuthi kube iminyaka emihlanu.
And also to have civil society people being directly involved towards the processes of ensuring that people are held accountable for the damage that they cause.
Kunokuthi ke futhi khona inhlangano zomphakathi ezobhekelela ukuthi ingabe abantu abamoshayo bayaqondiswa na kulezi gwegwe zabo.
Kanjalo ke ne-climate change response implementation plan.
Futhi kube khona uhlelo ke lokungenelela kuguquguquko lwesimo sezulu.
I would also like to comment on the climate change bill to be a part of IDPs where we are directly involved in the community. because-
Ngifisa futhi ukuthi umthethosivivinyo esikhuluma ngalo namhlanje uhlanganyela nama-IDP lapho thina njengomphakathi sihlanganyela khona.
Because that is where we feel like we're able to make a contribution and actually be heard and can be able to follow up. Kuseduzane.
Ngoba ilapho sizibona khona ukuthi impela ke uvo lwethu liyalalelwa liyezakala futhi uyakwazi ukuthi bekhona okwenzakalayo khona lapho eduze.
I hope that njengoba sebaqalile ama processes ama consultations there will not be okay, number one, a question, Nyavala, right? Say a question. How do you actually determine that Ekurhuleni endorsed the bill? Because, okay, well, not because. How do you determine that Ekurhuleni has endorsed a bill?
Okokuqala
Uzoyishare
ke
lapho.
engizokushiya umbuzo ukuthi niqinisekisa kanjani ukuthi lapha eGruleni umthethosivivinyo lo uyaqaliswa noma ke uyasekelwa?
I don't endorse it, thank you.
Angosekeli lo mthethosivivinyo, ngiyabonga.
Dumelang, e re ke hlomphe ditulo ka ho tatelano ya teng, ke dumedise le community ya rona. Nna lebitso la ka ke Tlabole Masike, I'm from Val.
Good morning, my name is Tlabole Masiki. I am from Val, and greetings to the committee and the public.
Ke tswa ho NGO e bitswang Le Tjhabile Letsatsi in Bophelong, Vanderbijl Park.
I'm from an NGO called Lechabile Letsatsi in Bophelong,
Vanderbijl Park.
in Vanderbijl Park.
I'm also affiliated with Val Environmental Justice Alliance.
Ebile hape ke leloko la Val Environmental Justice Alliance.
Oh, I'm worried.
Ke kgathatseile.
Ke kgathatsehile haholo.
I am very worried.
Okay, e ke tla ratang ho e bua ya pele ke hore ke ratile the way le tlileng ka teng ho community ya rona, la ska la re nka la re isa di-fancy places.
What I like a lot about this meeting is that you came to us, to our community. You did not take us to fancy places to come and hear our views.
Hore le tlo bona hore ho etsahalang maphelong a rona.
So that you
Dibekeng tse re
can,
dulang ho tsona.
so that you can witness for yourself what is happening in our areas.
I'm one of the environmental activists.
Ke-
Tse nkileng qeto ya hore le nna ke batla ho thusa setjhaba.
I'm one of the environmental activists who has committed to assisting the community
Because ki bone hore climate change e affecta ba ha kae maphelong a rona.
because I have noted how much climate change is impacting on our lives.
As re tseba hore dintho tse ngata di a tena because rona re excluded from decision making.
As we have a lot of challenges because we are being excluded in
Ntho enngwe le
decision
enngwe
making.
ha e tlamehile e tsamaye, tlamehile e fetele councillor e fihle ka before e fihla ho rona di-community.
There are so many processes we have to, which involves the councillors before it comes to us as community members.
So ki le ka bona hore ke tlose ditshila tse etsahalang as di-dumping site, di-illegal dumping site. Because I kere my question hona jwale re na le di-illegal dumping site ka baka la hore masepala ha o sa re etsetsa niks.
We have decided to take it upon ourselves to remove the dumping sites. And they are these dumping sites because the municipality is no longer providing services for our communities.
So di-dumping site tsa rona kwana Vaal re tsamme hore re di turn into agri-site, agricultural site, le di-parks.
In our area in Val, we have tried to turn the dumping sites into agri-sites and the parks.
Mara bohloko kore ntho e re batlang ho e etsa ne re batla ho because of unemployment is too high.
Because of the fact that unemployment is too high in our communities
And batho ba rona ba sokola.
and our people are suffering a lot,
Ne ke nahanne hore ke mokgwa o re tlo kgona ho thusa batho ka ona.
I thought that this was another way, another intervention to assist our communities.
But because of this climate change,
But because of this climate change,
and le mmuso wa rona o tsebang batho ba pollutang,
and also our government knows the
ba
polluters,
sa etse niks ka batho bao ba ntseng ba re etsetsa ntho tsena kaofela.
and they are doing nothing about those polluters.
Dijalo tsa rona di a shwa
We are losing our plants
because mobu wa rona o polluted,
because the soil is polluted,
metsi ya rona a polluted,
water polluted as well.
hore ntho enngwe le enngwe e polluted.
Everything is polluted.
Ha re sa tseba re tlamehile re etseng.
We don't know what to do anymore.
Nna puo ya ka mona, I'm pleading to you, the government and parliament,
I would like to plead to the government and the parliament
hore le theohe mo le leng teng mo le tle fatshe ho rona.
to come down here on the ground
Le tlo lwana le rona against this battle ena e re e tshwereng.
and assist us to fight against these struggles we are going through.
Ke nahana hore ha re ka lwanang kaofela,
I think that if we can work together hand in
together we
hand,
can create a clean and healthy environment.
kaofela ka ho tshwarisana re ka kgona hore re hlokise
Hobane
ditulo tsa
jwale
rona.
batho ba kula,
Because people are getting ill,
phoofolo di a shwa,
animals are dying,
dimela di a shwa.
as well as the plants.
Ke kopa le thobo mo le leng teng le tle fatshe mane le tlo bona bophelo bo re bo phelang.
We want you to come from your offices and go down on the ground and experience the life that we live. Thank you very much.
Ke rata ho dumedisa the members of the parliament and the committee members.
Greetings to honorable members of the committee,
And le mophakathi kaofela.
as well as the community.
Thank you very much for presenting this bill.
Ke a leboha haholo fela ha ile mona le hlalositse molaokakanywa ona.
And I want to acknowledge that global warming is real.
Ke rata hore ke amohele hore taba ena ya ho fetoha ha boemo ba ha climate hore ke ntho e leng teng.
But the approach of the parliament is completely wrong.
Empa mokgwa wa o parlamente e sebetsang ka ona o fosahetse.
Because you can see there is a breakdown, a broken relationship between national government, provincial and municipal government.
Ho wa bona ho la ho hlakile hore ha hona ho tshebedisano mo mahatong a farolohaneng a puso ho tloha ho puso ya bosetjhaba ya province le puso ya ditulo leng ya masepala.
Rena ge re badudi ba mo Ekurhuleni.
We as residents of Ekurhuleni,
I'm quite happy gore re na le MMC wa Ekurhuleni, MMC Ngobese.
re itumetse thata gore re na le MMC wa Ekurhuleni e leng MMC Ngobese.
Chairperson of the committee, if you ask Ndate Ngobese that do you know anything about this bill?
Modula setulo wa committee ga o ka botsa Ntate Ngobese gore e ka ba hona le se a se tsebang ka molaokakanywa ona,
He will say no,
o tla re tjhe.
because he's from the municipality, but he doesn't know about this bill.
Hobane o tswa ho masepala e fela ha tsebe ka molaokakanywa ona.
That is the big problem. That is a big gap there.
Ke bona nkare hona le sekgala se leng teng mo.
So you jumped the provincial government, you jumped the local government, you came down to the community.
Lile la tlola province, la tlola le masepala, la tla fatshe mona ho rona mo setjhabeng.
For us to accept or to endorse this bill.
Hore rona re tlo amohela molaokakanywa ona.
We are aware of the activities of the committees in the parliament.
Re a tseba ka mesebetsi ya committee parlamenteng.
Some of the things is an exercise and tick box to say, Parliament, we went to the community accept, ra ipasisa.
Ka nako e nngwe ntho tse ba di etsang ko hore bona ba batla fela hore ba tle mona hore rona ba tlo fumana hore re ba thege mo nthong eo hore re kgone hore re fitise.
Ifela, akeke ra ba ra support Billy A.
But we are not going to support this bill.
And ke tla fa di reason why re sa e support.
And I'm going to say the reasons why we do not support.
Because we expect a committee educate rena community gore this is how this thing is going to work and these are the measures that we want to put in place.
Because we are expecting this committee to come to the community and educate the community about the bill and say this is how this is going to work and this is what is required of you as the community.
But because today you are doing a public consultation,
E fela kajeko ka hore le tlile mo le tlo buisana le setjhaba,
we are here to help you now.
rona re tlo le thusa jwale.
Come back with programs
Re le kgutleng le tle ka mananeo
to educate us.
hore le tlo re ruta.
You start from the primary,
Le qaleng fatshe,
you go to the secondary.
le ye sekolong se phahameng.
You go ka bana ba sekolo.
Yeah, I'm referring about the school. I'm talking about school children.
Then you engage as the community.
Morao ha moo le tle le tlo buisana le rona re le setjhaba
And say, how can we work together
hore re ka sebedisana jwang ka ho tshwarisana
to fight against this thing called global warming?
re lwe ka taba e re buang ka ona ya global warming kapa ya ho fetofetoha ha climate.
But today
E fela kajeko
is an indication that this committee never done anything.
hwa bonahala ho hlakile hore committee ena ha iyo ntho e entseng
Because they don't have a plan.
hobane ha bana leano.
If they had a plan, we will see the programs in the community.
Hankabe ile hore bana le leano ne re tlo bona di programo mane setjhabeng.
But there's no programs that are taking place in the community.
E fela a hona di programo tse leng teng mo setjhabeng.
I want the parliament, especially this committee, to come out with programs of engagement.
Ke batla hore parlamente se holo se tonna committee ena hore e be le programo e leng hore e tlo gona hore e hokahanye le setjhaba.
So we can start implementing this program from ward level to a constituency level.
Hore re kgone hore re tsebe hore re sebedise di program tsena ho tloha ho ward level le ho ya ho bao ba ile hore ba emetse setjhabeng.
Then you will see the results.
Ke mo e leng hore le tlo kgona hore le bone di tlamorao tse ntle mono.
Because today we are clueless.
Hobane hona jwale ha re tsebe letho nje.
We don't know even how much emissions is Gauteng contributing.
A re tsebe le hore Gauteng yona e ntsha musi e mekae e le hore e tshilafatsa tikoloho.
Including Ekurhuleni.
Re kenyeletsa le Ekurhuleni.
We don't have that information.
Ha re na yona tshedimosetso eno.
So how can we help the parliament
Rona re ka thusa jwang parlamente
if we are not educated?
ha rona re sa ruteha ka ntlha eno.
So I want to say to the parliament finally,
Ke batla hore ke qetelle ka hore
you are most welcome.
le amohetswe.
We want you to go back.
Re batla le kgutlele morao.
Go put the programs together
Le tsamaye le lo etsa maano.
and come back
Le kgutle hape
and educate us.
le re rute.
Then when we are engaged with you and we know what is happening,
Ha setse re ile ra buisana le lona setse re tseba hantle hore ho etsahala eng.
then we can be able to endorse this bill.
Ke mo re ka kgonang hore re dumellane le molaokakanywa ona.
Ke a leboha.
Thank you very much.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen.
Ngiyanibingelela abantu abahloniphekile.
My name is Unati Simtanda Ngubeni,
Igama Honathi Siyamthanda Ngubeni.
and I come from Guatemala, Ward 111.
Ngibuya kwaThema eWard 111.
And I am here to say I actually disagree with the bill.
Ngizela ukuzothi angihambisani nomthethosivivinyo.
But at first, I will first ask Kuti, if I ask any questions, would you guys first answer me or?
Kodwa ke ngifisa ukuqala ngakho ukubuza ukuthi uma ngase ngibuza imibuzo ningakwazi na ukungiphendula?
Like the judge.
Chairperson, she's addressing you.
Okay. So I would say that you came here and I understand that we're talking about climate change and it actually affects us, and some of the activities that we do actually ruin our ozone layer and causes our climate change.
Njengoba size namhlanje sokhuluma ngokuguquguqulo lwesimo sezulu olusithintayo njengokuthintayo ozone layer njalo njalo.
But I would say that you are here and telling us about us to give you money, actually to pay, rather than coming us and telling us about jobs and how we could fight this.
Kodwa mina ngithi nize la ukuzositshela ukuthi sinike imali ukuthi nikwazi niyokhokha kunokuba nisitshele ngemisebenzi.
And if you want us to fight this thing of global warming, we can easily tell people, give people jobs on what to do, like opening programs for people to work, telling people to pick up papers and paying them for that. But then what you're emphasizing is us to give you money, and you forgot that most of us are not employed.
Uma ke ngibengangcono bakuthiwa nize la nezinhlelo ke eziphathelene nomsebenzi ukuthi mhlawumbe nizwenza izinhlelo zokuthi abantu baxosha izibi njalo njalo, kepha kunalokho nize la ukuzosifuna imali.
And I would say that, as you can see, that China is actually taking over the world by its factories here. Instead of you, I don't understand why did actually the government or you people agreed for China to actually buy some lands in South Africa and actually open their own factories.
Ngiyabona ke ukuthi umhlaba usufuna ukuphathwa yiChina manje bavula amafemu khona la benza imisebenzi khona la, angazi ukuthi nina njengohulumeni nivume kanjani ukuthi amaChina azovula amafemu awo la nizowanika umhlaba la eningizimu Afrika.
And pertaining load shading, ne? I know that people are actually in our ward, people have actually striked for load shading, and then strike also leads to climate change.
Mina ke mayelana ne-load shedding ke engifisa ukusho ukuthi ewodini engihlala kuyo abantu baye babhikisha belwe le ndaba le ye-load shedding ngoba inayo futhi inegalelo kulesi simo esibhekene naso namhlanje.
But then you guys did not come and talk to us about how are you going to do for us to have electricity.
Kodwa nifikanga ukuzositshela ukuthi ke yini enizoyenza ukuze sibe nogesi.
But you're only telling us about that we have to actually pay for the causes of climate change.
Kodwa ke nizositshela ukuthi mina sikhokhele imbangela yoguquguquko lwesimo sezulu.
So I would want to ask for pertaining climate change, why do we have to pay? Because actually this thing can it's natural. If the gases and the what and the fossil fuels that we burn and our carbon goes to the atmosphere and causes the climate change or holes in our ozone layer, it actually causes climate change.
Mayelana nokuguquguquko lwesimo sezulu ngifuna ukwazi ukuthi kungani kufuneka sikhokhe ngoba phela into iyazenzekela imvelo le ukuthi uma kubaswa kuye phezulu kuyohlala pha esibhakabhakeni.
And I don't understand why Mele Spatal, because actually if you can actually teach us more and tell people what to do to stop this thing of climate change, like for example, you can just say people can promote deforestation, than people can promote the afforestation, but than deforestation, and then our ozone layer can naturally, slowly but surely.
I honestly don't understand why we have to pay for this, because uma ngasabe nezinhlelo zokufundisa abantu phela ukuthi batshale izihlahla kunokuba bazinqume ngokwemvelo umhlaba ungalunga futhi.
Manje imali ingena kanjani lapho?
What does money have to do with any of this?
Can you answer, please?
Ngifisa sengathi ngathola impendulo, ngiyacela bandla ningiphendule.
Nana, baby girl, mamela. Imali, asifune mali thina yini.
My baby, please listen. We do not want money from you.
The only people that the bill say kufanele bakhokhe yilaba abanga comply to the bill or other acts the environment.
Abantu kuyibona kuphela abazokhokha are those people who do not comply with the act.
Business people.
Also
like
business.
Sasol and others. Those yibo ababhadala hayi nini community.
Osasol nabanye hayi umphakathi.
Ilaba emit polluter the environment.
So you mean that people who actually own ama factories and industries mela patal, but then mele ba patale nina ba phinde futhi ba patala ama employees
So
wabo.
are you saying that the people who are damaging or destroying the environment should pay the employees and also pay you?
No, let's leave it because you'll get confused more. Just present what you want to present.
Masishiye lapho ngoba izothi ukudidadida ungethula nje inkulumo yakho sis.
Okay, thank you. Even if ngingawuphendulanga umbuzo wami.
Ngiyabonga even though my questions was not answered.
Sanibonani. Igama ngisifiso wakashabalala. Ngihlala iward 111.
Greetings, my name is Sifiso Shabalala. I come from Ward 111.
Ekuruleni East.
Ekuruleni East.
Ake ngibonge baholi ukusinvite namhlanje.
Thank you to our leaders for inviting us today.
Nodadewethu abakhona. Baholi abafethu sebangikhavile kokuningi ngaphandle kokumosha isikhathi. Ngibonge babungobese njengomholi ke engimaziyo.
Some of my points are already covered. And I
Ekuruleni-
want to thank you, Baba Ngobese, as being our leader.
Ekuruleni ke sinamakhansela amaningi, sinabaholi uMMC we-environment engazi noma mhlawumbe ukhona kodwa ngibona ngathi akekho.
We here in Ekuruleni, we have many leaders who are taking the lead, but I don't see the MMC of environment.
Which is disappointing.
Okuyinto ke edumazayo.
That's why you see ama-city are empty.
Ingakho ke nibona izihlalo zingenamuntu.
So angicabangi ukuthi thina njengoba siku-ward committee singathatha lethuba size namhlanje bese abaholi bethu bangabi khona.
I don't think we as ward committees, we can come here without our leaders among us.
Kunama-report esiwathulayo emkhandlwini njengami ku-environment ngidila nge-agriculture, ngidila nge-farming, ngicapture abantu aba-interested lawo ma-department.
There are reports that we always submit. For instance, me, I'm working with agriculture and also capturing the information of those who works with the environment.
So kunemembuzo abantu abayibuzayo ukuthi mangabe mhlawumbe bane-interest yokutshala, bane-interest yokufuya, bangalithola kanjani usizo?
So there are questions about that agricultural. They want to know if they want to plow and they want to have livestock. How can they do that?
So ngicabanga ukuthi ibill le bengayisupport because i-climate change iyas affect kakhulu and iza nomthelelo omubi.
I think I would have supported the bill because really the climate change, it affects us negatively.
So uma ngabe mhlawumbe labantu mabangathola imisebenzi ngoba mangabe sizoyisupport abantu abaningi bazolahlekelwa umsebenzi.
And only if it can create jobs, because I'm afraid that if we can support this bill, many people will lose their job.
So bakhona abantu ekuhlaleni ba-interested bayatshala abantu bayafuya kodwa abayitholi usizo emkhandlwini.
We have people who in our community and some are doing agricultural, but they don't get any assistance from the council.
So would you please sicela ukuthi ni support abantu baholi?
So please support the people, you as leaders.
So la ngihlala khona babungobese, I'm so sorry to mention you. Ngicabanga ukuthi le ndawo uyayazi. Kune old mine, eFlakfontein mine, endaweni yakwaThema, between kwaThema neTsakane, which is Langaville. There is kunendawo la emine kushiswa amathaya on daily basis.
Babungobeni, I'm sorry that I point this to you, but between Tsakane and Kwatema, there is a place in Langaville where there are people who burn tires there.
Nama-cable ke.
Tires, cables.
So kunzima ukuthi siface labantu thina siku-ward committee.
It's not easy for us to face or direct or just approach these people as committee
So
leaders.
ngi-reportile this matter, ngi-submitile ku-ward council, ngayisi-reporta le matter kumaphoyisa, kodwa manje angiboni ushintsho, and lamathaya mawasha, kwenzeka ama-accident.
I've reported this matter to all different stakeholders, but I don't see any change because when these tires are being burned, there are some accidents because of that are being caused by the fire.
So bengicela baholi ukuthi mhlawumbe uma singakwazi ukuthi singabantu sisizeke ngoba le ntuthu mayisuka i-affecta thina, i-affecta abantu, but angiboni SAPS igijimisa labantu. Ngiyazi ke abaphoyisa nawabhizi kodwa manje mangabe sifuna ukuprotecta i-environment kuzomela sibonise baholi ukuthi yini esiyenzayo ukuze abantu babone ukuthi siyayiprotecta ngoba laba abantu bayingozi abashisa lapha baphathi izinto ezingalungile. So manje umphakathi uma ukufakile ku-ward committee uvela uzoreporta kuwe ukuthi shabalala kwenzakalani, uyabona. So nami I cannot go there, so please can you please guys sicela ukuthi nisisize.
We request your help, please, to help us because we don't see any action. We never seen any SAPS trying to chase these people away. So, and me as a ward councillor, when anything happening in the area, people will come to me, and I'm also afraid to approach these people.
Okunye ukuthi nje sicela ukuthi nizama ukuthi nisprovide ngama illegal dumping board notice, ngoba kuneyindawo abantu bayachitha idoti, siya report emkhandlwini siziclinele sumphakathi njengathi wo311 sinokuthatha initiative. Even yesterday ucouncillor bekane program siya cleaner, si assist community, senza ama speed humps ngeimali zethu to meet you halfway. But now if singatholi thina nezinto zokusebenza singathola amabhodi, then asazi ukuthi kumele sigcine sezinjani.
We also want to request that you provide us with the equipment. The one of them, i-board, elshoyo ukuthi kungalahlwa udoti, because there are things that we are doing in the community. We try to prevent this by making some speed humps in order to avoid this, in order to meet you halfway. So we please ask you to provide with all the equipment that is needed.
Ngiyabonga.
Thank you. Last call.
Okay, thanks, Chairperson.
Siyabonga, Sihlalo.
Your colleagues, let me say, all protocol observed.
Angimane nje ngithi bonke zonke izihlalo ezikhona ngiyazibingelela.
I think I will sing the same song that you have asked, agree or disagree.
Ngicabanga ukuthi nami ngizoqala ngokusho lokho enicelile ukuthi sikusho ukuthi siyawusekela noma asiwusekeli lo mthetho sivivinyo.
Cha, andiwusekeli umthetho.
No, I do not support the bill.
Nguthando othethayo ohlala Ward 58,
My name is Tando. I come from Ward 58,
Pambridge.
Pambridge.
First, let me submit this to you, Chairperson, and your panel.
Angwethule lokhu kuwe Sihlalo kanye nethimba lakho.
May you please strengthen your team, even in the province. I know you cannot be all over as members of parliament, but if you can strengthen your team, for an example, those that were busy coming around like during this week, most of us, actually let me not most, some of us have that chance to be briefed. But if you can see, even in the attendance where I was, it was not that much. So at least there are 3 spheres of government: national, province, and local.
Ake uzame sihlalo ukuliqinisa ngempela ithimba lakho ubapha amandla abantu osebenza nabo ngoba abanye bethu kulapho esengibe ngiyangabakhona ngiye ngabona ukuthi inani labantu ababakhona aligculisi ngokuphelele. Ngakho njengoba sazi ukuthi uhulumeni wakhiwe amahlandla amathathu kusukela phezulu kuhulumeni kazwelonke kube uhulumeni wesifundazwe nohulumeni wendawo.
Again, there's a Minister of Environment, there's a MEC of Environment, there's a MMC of Environment. So I think the engagement, before you come to the ground, all those three spheres of government related from that department, please, you must just try to do something. Nihlale phansi ngamanye amagama, ni engage nonke ukwazi ukuthi ama team kwenza kanjani if ni deploy from national and then the province money workshop enitshela ukuthi yenzeni mhlamba bakhona ukuthi abazi ukuthi bona boqala because this bill is from national.
Kunale mkhakha emithathu sino MEC sino MMC sicela ukuthi nihlangane nobathathu nihlanganisa amakhanda nixoxe ngokuthi nizodlulisela kanjani lona umthetho sivivinyo kubantu kuze bawuthole ngoba uma ningazange nikwenze lokho kuba nzima ukuthi abantu bawuqonde uma usufika kubantu abaphansi. Ngakho uma ningahlanganisa kuqala amakhanda nina kuzoba lula uma sokuthi umthetho sewethulwa kuthini.
Ngicela angifuni ukuthi ayikho right ukuthi nize abantwini but okunye it seems like ngizawuthi ngathi it's like an outreach like manje ukuthi sizokwenza ebengizocela excuse me first chief ebengizocela mina like lakini consult even you must endorse actually I don't want to say it must be by law just endorse each and every public meeting if it's a word based there must be somebody ozokhuluma nge-environment. And then if imbizo kumasipala, there must be somebody okhona ozokhuluma nge-environment. You must implement that law first so that even a report is belula. Because like now, I think if fail mobilization on your side, you rely only on the ward committees and NGO on NPOs that are here. You failed in mobilization yourselves. Because at least if you come here in Katlehong, the hall can be fulfilled by people around like here. If you go to Togoza there at that side, people from that area, without inviting people from Springs and Tembisa, they can fill the hall on their own. So bengicela ke ukuthi at least ukuze mhlawumbe le bill iunderstandeke mhlawumbe ngokwalamalunduzana if you are saying we're going to Albertine side or ngokwama township wethu nithi Thokoza Spruit Phosphorus nibalinke bonke on one area noke COVID I doubt ukuthi manje say that much and then you go to Tembisa and all townships like lapho nizlinke so that yonke lento ihambe ngendlela. For example like now if I'm going to my ward what is it I'm going to report? There's something I can report about this bill but people will say uhambile wayosthatela ama decision like le. So bengicela ke mina ukuthi at least ama department mawalinke. Two, it's not true actually. Again, if we support this bill, but although I said I don't support the bill, Egurulin, I think there is one guy on Kavil, good Egurulin, it pays Guma industries. We're not saying it don't contribute to air pollution and so forth, but if we're saying we support that bill, what is going to happen about the people that are feeding their families? Because even the coal, iyasebenza. So if we want something, let's say, if we move this, we're replacing with this. And the bone like last so mina in conclusion, bengicela nje ukuthi at least makube ne consultation. Size kumasipala wethu. I think na bumasipala, Mr. Ngobese sawushaya kuwe because you are here, you said you are presenting mayor, a mayor for today, ne? Or for hours here.
Masimncede so that it's on record. Yeah.
Let me try to summarize what the gentleman just mentioned. Yeah, first of all, the gentleman mentioned that the consultation is so important for you as the committee, as well as the mobilization. When you go to people, try to mobilize them. And in order to do that, you must also think ngezimkhakha emithathu ayishilo yabantu ukuze kube lula ukubahlanganisa. Because it's difficult if kungazange kulandelwe lezo zindlela ezifanele. For instance, this hall should be filled now by this time. Ukube bekwenzeke kahle, i-consultation, i-mobilization, ukufinyelela kubantu kahle, bezokwazi ukuligcwalisa leli holo. So that's the first thing you as the committee, you should do and think about it. And ubaba, njengomeya na uyayazi izinto ezenzekayo. So also, he also has a responsibility to see ukuthi uma kuba nama-consultation nezimbizo zomphakathi izithangame ezifana nalezi, bonke abantu bayathintwa, kungarelywa kuphela kubantu abathile, kodwa kufinyelele kubo bonke abantu ukuthi abantu beze bazoba lapha. For instance, he mentions that as from here, he will go back to the community, and the community will say, we were not there when you support the bill. So that's the reason why he's not supporting the bill, because the community at large, it's not here.
Okay, thanks. On coach and yakichim. Nase school and benjalo kwe relay. Again, besengisho ke kubaba ungobese. I think okunye contributor kakhulu like now, la kwi city, ududi. I think I will sing that song. Kungcolile endaweni ethu yokuhlala and abantu bayachisa because of angeke ude uhlale nodudi. For example, zamanani kuma legal dumping when or dumping site abe maningi.
So another thing that I would like to direct to Mr. Ngobese, it's that the area is dirty, you know, and if you've got a rubbish or a trash, definitely you will ban it, because you can't stay with the rubbish or a trash with you. So you will ban it. So the request is that if we can have many different areas where we can dump this, it can make things much better.
And because I think you saw, as you said, when you came here, you said you are coming from Ward 61. I think when you are coming here, actually from the ward that you are coming, I think you saw what's happening there.
Ngiyethemba nizibonele njengoba nisho benisuka ku Ward 61 endleleni njengoba beniza nibonile nje ukuthi kunjani.
Kungcolile kumdaka tata.
It is very dirty.
So bengicela ke kuwe chairperson ke manje ukuthi umasipala ne province.
So I want to request to you as to chairperson that municipality as well as the province.
Kube na something enifakayo like la kwibill ukuthi be must ukuthi at least umasipala makangafeli like umphakathi in terms of angisho but if ududu uzohlala ongathathwa angeke ubuyisele ududu abanye abantu asizukufana, you understand? So in this like bill nalezo zinto masibe khona singakhulumi like only ngegas mhlambi ne coal and so forth. I submit.
Let us not only include the gas as well as the coal, but there should be a law in this bill that tells the local, the provincial, so that the government locally can know that if they don't pick up the trash, then they must face some consequences on that.
Good afternoon.
Siyanbingelela.
My name is Paul Jacobs. I'm from Eden Park, Ward 51,
Igama
57.
igama lami Paul Jacobs, ngivela Edenvale.
Eden Park.
Eden Park, ku Ward 57.
And I want to greet each and every one of you here.
Ngithanda ukubingelela wonke umuntu okhona
I
lapha.
just want to say all protocol observed.
Ngifuna nje ukusho ukuthi zonke izihlalo ngiyazibingelela.
There's so much been said about climate change.
Sekukhulunywe kakhulu ngokuguquguquka kwesimo sezulu.
But I want to say that we are no longer experiencing climate change.
Kodwa ngifuna ukusho ukuthi asesakuzwa asabhekani nakho ukuguquguquka kwesimo sezulu.
We experience climate crisis.
Kodwa kunalokho singene shi enkingeni ebangelwa isimo sezulu.
We could see how the climate has been changing all over these years.
Sibonile isimo sezulu indlela esishintshe ngayo nesiguquguquke ngayo kule minyaka.
We cannot divorce ourselves from KwaZulu-Natal because that's the place where I normally go on holiday and I could not went to a holiday because of climate change.
Futhi ngeke nje silokhu sakubheka njengento okwenzeka ezindaweni ezithile njengekwaZulu Natal ngoba indawo engiyithandayo leyo uma ngifuna ukuyovakasha naye ebhekana nesimo esifanayo sokuguquka kwesimo
I
sezulu.
want to welcome this act.
Ngifuna ukuwamukela lo mthetho.
The thing is this, the process is flawed.
Inkinga nje inqubo elandeliwe engahambanga kahle.
What we are saying here, as I've heard correctly, that you want to push with this act from a position of bottom up.
Engikuzwile njengoba ngilalele ukuthi nifuna ukuba lo mthetho sivivinyo uqale ezingeni eliphansi ukhuphukele phezulu.
We need to then empower and capacitate the bottom.
Ngakho ke uma kunjalo kufanele sinikeze amandla sisimamise abantu abaphansi.
Our ward committees are people living with the community.
Amakomiti amawodi abantu labo abahlala nemphakathi.
And I don't think that the government is taking them serious.
Kodwa ngibona ukuthi uhulumeni ngempela uba bheka njengabantu ababalulekile.
How can you give these guys 1,000 rand?
Ungabanika kanjani labantu banika 1,000 rand?
There's so much they must do for this country.
Akukho abangakwenzela lelizwe.
They are faced with challenges and threats.
Babhekene nezingqinamba nokwesatshiswa.
Now the other day, the Gauteng Township Economic Development Act has been passed.
Kodwa manje sekunomthetho waseGauteng okuthuthukisa eGauteng osuphasisiwe.
And I want to agree with my previous guys who spoke here.
Futhi kungenza lokho ngivumelane nozakwethu asebekhulumile lapha.
MMCs knows nothing about it.
MMC akazi lutho ngakho.
Councillors knows nothing about it.
Amakhansela wazi lutho.
The community is looking unto us for implementation.
Umphakathi ibheke thina emehlweni ukuthi makusetshenzwe.
We are living with them daily.
Sihlala nayo nsuku.
We raise their hopes daily.
Sithini esibavusela amathemba.
You come with the best acts here.
Nina niza nomthetho omuhle lapha.
But the implementation
Kodwa ukwenziwa kwawo
fails us.
akwenzeki.
We are ready to work with you as the parliament.
Sizimisela ukusebenza nani njengeParlamente.
And I hope and I pray
Futhi nginethemba ngiyakuthandazela
that you mean every word you said.
ukuthi konke nikushilo nizimisela ukwenza.
That it's no longer just a by the way thing,
Ukuthi nje akusekhona ukugcina icala.
but it's now a mandate.
Kodwa manje sekuwumthetho obekiwe kufanele wenziwe.
I want to appeal to parliament
Ngithanda ukulinxusa iParlamente
to have a direct line
ukuthi libe nomzila oqondile.
with your hot committee structures.
Okwakheka kwamakhansela amawodi.
When we hit red tape,
Ukuze uma sisebenza
then we can get directly to you.
sivele sikwazi ukuvele size ngqo.
Our people are tired.
Bakhathele abantu
Our
bakithi.
people need answers.
Abantu bakithi bafuna izimpendulo.
If you pass by our local auctions right now,
Uma ndlule emalokishini yakithi
you will see the illegal dumping sites all over.
nibona ukulahlwa kadoto
You see
kunemthetho
them.
yonke indawo niyakubona.
But when somebody just want to put up a car wash there,
Kodwa khona umuntu obengayisebenzisa le ndawo awugezi washe khona
the
izimo.
metro cops and everybody will lock them up.
Umuntu obengasebenza ondle kodwa manje uyaboshwa.
They don't get permits to do vending.
Akayithola imvume yokudayisa.
There's too much red tape. There's too much of our councillors and our municipalities who do not have the political will.
Kubekwe imingcele yonke indawo. Kunamakhansela amaningi angenalo ugqozi
Our
lwepolitiki.
people are tired.
Bakhathela abantu
We
bakithi.
don't want handouts.
Asifuni ukuphila ngokuphiwa.
Give us the land.
Sinikeni nje nini
Give us
umhlaba.
the resources.
Sinikeni izinsiza.
Let us do it for ourselves.
Dedeleni sizenzele.
Corporate South Africa,
Ahlanganani njengeinhlangano.
they're making a lot of money out of us.
Kuningi abakwenzayo lezo inhlangano
They
ngathi.
don't want us to do the economy in our townships.
Azifuni ukuba sithuthukise umnotho.
They want us to
emalokishini.
get to where they are.
Kodwa zifuna kufinyelela lapho zikhona.
We want the money to turn in our townships.
Sifuna imali ukuze siguqule amalokishi ethu.
They dump in our townships, they create stuff in our townships that will cause climate change as well.
Balahlela udoti emalokishini ethu benza izinto ezibangela ukuguquguquka kwesimo sezulu.
And we need to keep them accountable.
Manje kufanele sibenze baphendule.
Now, I'm on this one thing, and I'm really on this one thing. I'm going to step on it like I'm pressing a nerve.
Nginento engifuna ukuyisho futhi ngifuna ukuma kuyo ngingasuki.
You said you're going to work bottom up.
nithe nifuna ukusebenza kusuka phansi ukuya phezulu.
You better incapacitate these people.
Manje nikani labantu ke amandla.
You give them cell phones,
Banikeni into zokusebenza njenge cellphone.
you give them better money.
Nibaholele kahle.
Kids who left school yesterday,
Ingane zesikole
they work with this presidential thingy at the schools.
besebenza ngakho lokhu
They're getting more than this ward committees.
futhi bese zinikusekela lama committee.
How can you expect these guys to do their work?
Manje nilindela kanjani ukuthi labantu benze umsebenzi wabo?
They have to take taxi to taxi. Our wards are big.
Kufanele bagibele itekisi besuka la beya la ngenxa ukuthi amahodi ethu endlalekile.
We need to go from VD to VD.
Kufanele sisuke lapha siye lapha ya.
When we call on subcommittees, they don't want to come because there's nothing. They're hungry. We must feed them.
Uma sibiza ama committee angaphansi kwethu awakwazi ukwenza lambile adinga ukudla kwawona.
We need airtime.
Sidinga i-airtime yokufona.
Come on, guys. Be serious. If you think this thing is going to work,
Kahleni bafowethu uma ngempela nifuna lento isebenze.
you got to empower the bottom.
Sinike namandla
If
thina.
you're not going to empower the bottom,
Uma ningasekeli lena ngaphansi.
all your ex can come.
No.
All your ex can come,
Ko noma ihole lihle.
and there will be no implementation.
Angeke nize nikubone
I
kusebenza.
thank you.
Ngiyabonga. Siyabonga.
I think Honorable Dave, ukhohle makantshela ukuthi nivumeleke only 5 minutes.
I think
Ukukhuluma
Honorable
into enifuna ukuyisho.
Dave, he forgot to mention that you are allowed to speak only 5 minutes if you want to make an input.
And if we have more input, kuno secretary we committee, Chileka.
But if you have more, you want to add more, we have the secretary committee by the name of Chileka.
Then nibhala ninikeze yena, uzaninika ama form.
You can write and give it to her,
So
she will
banike-
give you the form.
Uthi sekabanikini.
She said she was already given you.
Because iskati sokukhuluma of 5 minutes. So manje sizocela futhi second round yabantu abazokhuluma.
So because the
Sicela
time is
ningaphindi
5
mawukuthi
minutes limit.
bewukhulumile ungaphindi nikeza abanye ichance. Ithi ngiqale ngapha. Nangu bhuti. Ba. Muphi? Which one? This one. Bathi kunomama bewuphakamisile ku first round but awuzange uthathwe. Ngicela uhlale. Akusekho omunye ngapha. Ngicela ungene bhuti. Phelile ngapha ne. Ngapha phezulu bani ongakhulumanga. Ngathi ukhulumile wena bhuti. Oh. Okay. 1, 2, 3 ngalo baba lo ufake ikepisi. Ngena nawe bhuti. One, 2, 3 this side. 4. Selitulo ezingaki lapho ukuthi baphelele. Selitulo ezingaki? 3. 3 must come in. That means it's only 3. Okay. Yeah, next round. Ndizongena ku next round. It's you and this gentleman. And who's the next one? And there were 3. It's fine. But what you are requesting, si request ukuthi ma ufika uzisho ukuthi ubani ubuya kuphi umele which organization. Kunama organization la asebenza ni climate change. Please mention that and then bese uyayisupport i-bill noma uyi-support i-bill. Then uqhubeke usho into ofuna ukuyisho. Lokho kunye nikushoyo okungahambelani ne-department yethu le. Sizoyi-transfera, sizozirefera to different departments. But okwe-council, u-MMC uzo-respond. Thank you. Sicela nibe 5 minutes. Man sizo yenza time, yeah. Then once it's 5 minutes, uchairperson uzosukuma so uyazi ukuthi isikhathi sakho sesiphelile. Thank you.
So first of all, you come here and just introduce yourself and mention which organization are you coming from. Then you will say whether you support or you do not support the bill. But now it will be only 5 minutes, so there will be a timer there for 5 minutes. But if you run over time, then the chairperson will just stand up, and that will be a signal to you that you have to end. The time is up.
Thank you. Igama lami uDonald Gamachia.
My name is Donald Machia.
I come from Kathras Recyclers Association.
Ngivela kuyinhlangano ye-Katoras Recycle Association, Recyclers Association.
Yes. Chairperson, ikhulumile ubaba. I think you can put it more. Yeah, so
Sihlalo khulumile umfowethu ngicabanga ukuthi besengasho kwengeziwe.
so inkinga kakhulu esinayo eyenza ukuthi sigcine nathi sesibhena izinto ukuthi sinenkinga enkulu when it comes to ama manufacturers wase South Africa.
The problem that we have that has resulted to us even now start banning things, it's because of the manufacturers here in South Africa.
Now if ubheka izinto kakhulu ezibhenwayo izinto ze recycling kakhulu.
If you can have a look at it, you'll see that mostly things that are being banned are those things that can be used as recycling.
Yes. So uzibuza ukuthi ama manufacturers yini into bayenza kakhulu because of they have pledged under EPR system ukuthi bone they will come and collect even their own waste.
What are the manufacturers doing? Because they've pledged that they will come bazoqoqa udoti wabo, kodwa manje benzani?
Yes. And therefore singawublame i-community ngendlela eziningi sithi kunodoti laphaya.
Yebo singalibeka icala emphakathini by pointing to them that there's rubbish there.
But at the same time ayikho into enkulu ebayenzayo because one thing that they can do is to value this ama recyclables lawa bone bathi mele siwa collect thina ama recyclers.
So the only thing that they can do is that they can only ban that trash because the recyclers, they only come and collect those
When you
stuff.
devalue ama recycling component, into ishoyo ukuthi these things are not of value. So what are you telling the community ukuthi they must throw it away?
Uma lezi zinto zingaphinde zisetshenziswe nina nikushoyo ukuthi ke kusho lezi zinto azibalulekile manje azenziweni ke azilahlwe.
At times we always find ama recyclers asebenza very hard.
That is why we find sometimes people who are recyclers besebenza kanzima.
Basiza environment ukuthi singabi naleyo climate change le bakhuluma nayo manje.
They assist the environment in order to prevent what we are talking about here, which is climate change.
So into bayenzayo is just to betray the system.
The only thing abayenzayo ukumanage badalule ukuthi uhlelo alwenzi kahle.
So sometimes singakhola umphakathi sithi umphakathi unenkinga yet mele sibheke ama manufacturers because lezi zinto lezo yizo ezabo mele balentuze bazipick up.
So it's easy to blame the communities, but in real fact, these are the things that belongs to the
Asibheke
manufacturers.
ukuthi why amatayere kaningi asheshe ukuthi alentuze abhenwe.
Why it is easy to ban the tires?
It's because of mawufuna collect amatire that means you have to go under a system ye government ye tender system.
Because if you want to collect all the tires, you have to follow the system, the government system, which is called tender system.
You cannot tell anybody ukuthi ahambe a collect amatire aye kuma processors wamatire uzokutshela ukuthi lo muntu loyo already I government inikeza amatire for free. So what are you saying to the community?
Awukwazi nje ukutshela umuntu ukuthi akahamba ayoqoqa lamathayi because they will tell you that the government ukunikeza mahala manje kuqondweni ke ngalokho.
So ama conditions le government wethu awayenzayo to mitigate climate change awekho mnandi.
So the terms that has been set by the government in order to mitigate this problem that we have, it's not correct.
Okay. So mina ngibona ngathi akuna clear solution towards lento babiza ukuthi climate change.
Ngicabanga ukuthi asikho isixazululo esicacile kule nkinga ebizwa ngokuthi
At times,
ukuguquguquka
our
kwesimo
country as South
sezulu.
Africa, ivamisa ukungena kuma-treaties with big countries, abanomnotho omkhulu.
Ngezinye izikhathi izwe lethu libonakala selingathi lincintisana nezwe elinemnotho omkhulu, the well-developed countries.
Bavumelana ngesivumelano esukuthi babe equal kuma-agreements, like sort of like lower ama emission maybe by 2% or even 15%.
So they try to be in agreement with all those first world countries, maybe for instance to lower the emission with 5 or 15%.
Masingayivuma le bill le sithi of course amele si stop ukubhena.
If we can allow or support this bill and say yes, we will stop now. to
Angeke
ban the
ize
tariffs.
affecte kakhulu ngisho nabantu bakuma big countries lawa are rich because of already umnotho wabo so phezulu.
People in the first developing countries, those people will not be affected because their economy is on the right
Now at the same time thina la South Africa umnotho wethu sephansi.
But we here in South Africa, we are in third world countries.
So therefore mina angiyindose ibill.
Ngenxa yalokho ke mina angiwusekeli lo mthetho
Ngifuna ukuthi iSouth Africa icreate ama conditions so that we can accept this bill.
ngakho kuze sikwazi ukuwamukela lo mthetho sivivinyo kufanele kwakhiwe imithetho ebekiwe nemigomo ukuze sikwazi
If climate change was really an issue,
uma ngempela ukuguquguquka kwesimo sezulu bekuyinkinga.
besobona ama country afana nabo China bengabe kudala bacalile bayibeka ku agenda yabo.
We should have seen these countries like China be on the agenda, on their agenda.
So kimi akuna ama justifiable solutions.
Ngakho kimi angiziboni ngempela izixazululo engathi ezizwakalayo.
Bengicela ukubuya ngoba kuningi abakushilo azange nami ngikusho. Ngicela ukubuya.
There are a lot of things that they've told me to say, but I would like to come back.
Emgano, lo sizi lo osiqaleni bazokusiza hlangana naye. Sure. The next speaker.
Olandelayo. I greet you all.
Oh, igama lami nguKenneth Nkosi.
My name is Kenneth Nkosi.
Ngibuya ngisakhamuzi nje lapha na eThokoza.
I'm a resident from Togoza,
But under Ward 56.
ngaphansi kwe Ward 56.
Before ngizobeka whether I support or not support this thing, ngizoqala nje ukuthi ngisho kahle ukuthi isimo sama ambivalent because of the situation which I've just observed. Even recently, I've noticed something beyenzeka laphana uMinister Mantashe.
Ngaphambi kokuthi nje ngisengiqale ngisho ukuthi ngiyawesekela noma ngiweseli nami sosivivinyo ngifuna ukuqala nje ngibeke isimo sami ukuthi ngeke ngakhathazeka lapha mangibona ungqongqoshe uMantashe.
Kwangathi kune contradictions of some kind eyenzeka laphana.
Kwangathi khona nje ukushayisana obekade kwenzakala lapha ya.
Mangikhumbula kahle ukuthi those factors ezenza ukuthi kube ne climate change, some of them will issue a carbon emission.
Ngicabanga ukuthi ke ezinye zezimbangela noma izakhi esibangela
Of which most cases yenziwa yini amalahle.
Most of it is caused by coal
Ne industry.
as well as the industries noma imboni.
I've noticed there were some people who were protesting over there.
Ngabona ukuthi kunabantu ababebhikisha lapha ya.
Be indicate ukuthi the Minister Mantashe must do away with the issue of the coal.
Babekhala ngokuthi ke ungqongqoshe uMantashe sengathi angasuku ukususa noma ke acheze ukudabeni lolu lwamalahle.
So to me, it indicates that there is a predicament even within the parliament,
Lokho kungikhombisa ukuthi ngathi nokushayisana ke eParliament imbala.
which indicates ukuthi noma singayi-endorse climate change lena. Noma singayi-endorse climate change.
Which means that
lena,
even if we were to endorse this climate change bill,
the thing is, it will not be difficult
kodwa ke kuzoba nzima
because people will end up being unemployed
ngoba abantu phela bawugcina bengasasebenzi
when they have to deal with the concept of carbon emission.
uma bengabhekana nodaba le carbon emission
So-
umkhisho we carbon.
I strongly recommend that at least the best way of it being done now,
Ngincoma ke ukuthi indlela ephuma phambili ukuthi kwenzeke lokho ukuthi
ngenxa yokuthi this thing it seems to be having been forced to them due to these protocols that have been made through Lama Summit bekade beye kuwo.
kubuya sengathi ke lokhu kuphoqelekile ukuthi kwenzeke ngenxa ke yalezi vumelwano ezasayinwa kule ngqungquthela ababeye kuzo.
Abeze kithi kumphakathi sisonke.
They should come to us as a community, all of
Ukuthi
us.
I-advantage ikakhulukazi ingakuphi? Is it advantaging us as South Africans or is it advantaging those people abaku first world countries?
Kutholakale ke ukuthi lokhu kulethela bani inzuzo, ingabe kulethela thina noma labantu ke abasemazweni lawa ke anothile.
Yeah, ngoba masibhekisisa kahle yibo it seems as if yibo aba-enforce this concept ukuthi we must contribute to this concept ukuthi si decrease climate change.
Because it seems like
But
they are
they are
the
the
ones
ones who are actually contributed almost the most percentages of this climate change.
It seems
as
like
it is happening in here.
they are the ones who are forcing us to enforce these climate change changes, but then yibo kanye abayimbangela enkulu yalomonakalo okhona.
So, committee lena, ayizama ukuthi at least before sizo endorse this bill, ayiphinde ibuyele icabangisise kahle ukuthi what is it? Is it going to be advantaging us as South Africans or is it going to disadvantage us as South Africans in terms of unemployment, in terms of health, in terms of whatever aspect that affects us in life here?
Manje ke leli committee maybe lemuva liyocabangisisa kahle ukuthi ingabe lokhu kuzolethela sina inzuzo na ngezomsebenzi, ngezempilo kanye nokuningi okunye kubheke ukuthi thina sizozuza kanjani.
Ngicela ukungena mhlambe position yesibili. Sibonile sesiyayazi futhi effect yakhona. Sibonile ngalama floods enzekile boma KZN in Eastern Cape.
And now on my second point, we've seen this now. We saw the floods in KZN and the Eastern Cape and so forth.
And kwaba ne presidential I can't recall it whether it was like what declared the state of emergency in terms of
Then the president declared something which I can't remember what it was called, but it was a state of emergency in relation to what was happening.
Wherein those communities who have been affected were supposed to be compensated.
Lapho ke leyo mphakathi ekade ke ilimele mayithintekile kwakudinga kuba inxeshezelwe.
But that, to me, it has not yet been happening.
Kodwa ngokwami lokho akakwenzeki.
I'm saying this because I've got some relatives in the Eastern Cape.
Ngisho ngoba nginehlobo le-Eastern Cape.
Wherein izindlu zabo zadilika, kodwa up to now njengoba ngikhuluma.
Their houses were
Nothing has been done. They've been
damaged.
promised, but nothing has been done. So sebayi burden even nakithi manje.
Their houses were damaged and akwenzakalanga lutho kuze kube manje basibe umthwalo wethu phela ngoba abakasizakali.
So ngicela ukuthi nje igovernment ayike ibe nesimo ibhekisise kahle ukuthi ngabe lento ye climate change yokuthi singene kuyo kube nama mitigation, is it of assistance to us or does it just ukuthi into efostiwe kithi?
Ngakho ke ngicela ukuthi uhulumeni awuyobhekisisa kahle ukuthi ngabe lo daba loguquguqulo isimo sezulu luzosiza thina noma ukwenza nje.
So ngalokho ke I'm just in an ambivalent. I'm not going to say I'm supporting it abaphinde bayihlazulule bayibhekisise.
Ngakho ke angizazi ukuthi ngimi kuhle kuphi kahle hle. May they please go back and have a relook at this. Thank you.
Sanibonani.
I greet you all.
Aniko ngokamkwena.
My name is Aniko Mukwena.
Ngichamuka ekuruleni.
I am from Eguruleni.
Forestry. Mina ngi waste collector.
I am a waste collector.
Ngisebenza ngododi.
I work with refuse.
Ngiphatheka kabi mangisebenza ngododi kuphinda futhi climate change change kangaka.
It really concerns me when it comes to my work, which is collecting waste, and then there's this change of the climate now.
Ngoba angiphatheki kahle phezu komnotho.
I am not happy when it comes to the economy.
Ngoba lento ngayivuma ngayivumi
Because I may accept or not accept this.
Ngoba i-government yethu iphansi kakhulu.
Because our government is in a very low position.
Akho nto ehambayo.
Nothing is happening.
Like njengokuthi mawufika endaweni ufuna ukuthola usizo bazobheka uqala ubuso bakho khani bazokwazi ukuthi bakwazi ukuthi bakusize.
Like when you go to a place seeking assistance, they'll firstly look at you before considering helping you.
Yeah, ngine 15 years ngisebenza nge-waste.
I've been working with waste for 15 years.
Uma ngicollector ngiphatheka kabi ngoba angikwazi ukungena endaweni la kufanele khona ngikwazi ukusiza ngofuquza ngikwazi ukucollector ngikwazi ukubeka endaweni yami la ngisebenzela khona.
I'm unhappy because there are places where I'm unable to have access to those places so I can collect the waste and place it in my place where I keep the waste.
Dala ngifuna ukungena eParliament engakwazi ukuya eParliament ngoba kunemgomo nembandela.
I've always wanted to go to Parliament, but I was unable to because there are terms and conditions for accessing that place.
Ngiyachiselwa and izinto zami ngiyashiselwa even nange-8 zika May 2019 iCovid ifasile ngachiselwa into zami.
My things were burnt. So even in May, during the times of COVID, my things were burnt.
Even masipala kayingeni.
Even the municipality is not concerned.
Ugovernment akayingeni.
The government is not concerned.
Umphakathi uyazenzela elokishini.
The community is doing whatever they want to do in the township.
Mangifuna ukubuza ukuthi uma iza i-minister ithi yona masipromote umsebenzi uthi sipromote uphi umsebenzi angafuni ukungena nix eyami ngoba i-climate change already uma ukuchiswa izinto zami intuthu yaphezulu.
Now, the government or the minister is saying we should promote these services, but now, what are they referring to? Because the climate is changing, but my things, when they are burnt, the smoke goes up, it rises.
Bengicela lapho kulo ndawo ngiyabonga.
That is my concern. I thank you.
Sanibonani nonke.
I greet you all.
Igama lami nguNkosinathi Khambule.
My name is Nkosinathi Nkambule.
Ngiphuma eThembisa la eKuruleni.
I'm from Tembisa here at Egoruleni.
Ward 6.
Ward 6.
Ngirepresenta i-community based organization
I'm representing a community-based organization.
ebizwa nge-Earth Child Creatives Hubs and Projects. Earth Child Creatives Hub
A Child Creatives Hub
and Projects.
and projects.
Ngizoqale ngibonge ngokuthi iParliament elisondele kithi.
I would like to thank the Parliament for coming to us.
Although my expectations wethu were high,
Even though we had high expectations,
besicabanga something like a buffet breakfast.
besithi nje sizodla idili lamkhipheni nje ekuseni kuvuku.
Sathola nje amaphula ethu
We
kuphela
just had
namanzi.
2 apples and water.
Mara indaba ayikho lapho.
Kodwa ke, that is not what we are here for.
We have a just transition framework, which it is endorsed by the Parliament.
Kunohlakala yezoguquko olungile eligunyazwe yeParliament
Which speaks to this climate change issue.
olukhuluma ngalolu daba loguquko lwesimo sezulu.
And then it has 3 principles,
Lunemigomo emithathu.
which one of them is procedural justice.
Omunye wayo ukulunga ukuhambisana nezinqumo.
So you yourself, you have witnessed and heard that people are not satisfied by the procedure in which this gathering is taking place.
Nibonele ngawenu ke ukuthi abantu abathokozile ngendlela noma ngenqubo eqhubeke ngayo lolu hlelo osinayo la namuhla.
Therefore, it becomes quite difficult for ordinary citizens to participate or comment.
Ngakho ke kuba nzima ukuze ke umphakathi ukwazi ukuphawula noma uzibandakanye kulezi zinhlelo.
On issues that they are not well capacitated on.
Uma kuya ngodaba abangenalo ulwazi olwanele ngalo.
So I think you need to fix that area.
Ngicabanga ukuthi kumele niyolungisa lapho.
on the procedures when you're coming to communities.
Maqondana ney'nqubo ke enilandelayo lapho kuziwa emphakathini.
Such gathering should be educationally more of consultational because you cannot consult people who don't understand.
Uma kuhlangenwe kanje sengathi le imihlangano le ngaba eyokufundisa kunokuthi kube yokubonisana ngoba ungebonisana nabantu abangazi ukuthi ukhuluma ngani.
Now it becomes a bit difficult to take, to hold a view whether I do support this bill
Lokhu
or
kwenza-
whether I do not support the bill.
Lokwenza kube nzima ukuba sesinqumo sokuthi ngiyeseka noma ngiweseli umthethosivivinyo na.
Because there are a lot of policies which we supported, but up to so far, we don't see any different on the ground.
Ngoba ke kunenqwaba yenqumo mgomo esiye sazeseka kodwa asikaboni lutho lwenzeka lapho sikhona.
We have a national emission reduction strategy.
Kunohlelo olubekiwe ke lokunciphisa okushiswayo okuphumayo kuye phezulu.
We have National Environmental Management Act.
Kunomthetho wokulawula ezemvelo kuzwelonke.
We have, I can go on with these policies,
Kuyinqwaba ke ngingaqhubeka ngichaze le nqubo mgomo.
but they are not helping us as far as emissions is concerned,
Kodwa azisize inhlobo makhona indaba yalokho okushiswayo.
which contradicts our national determined contributions.
Okuphambanayo ke impela nalokho okunqunyiwe okungekwezwe lonke.
So I think we really stepping on a wrong foot.
Ngicabanga ukuthi siqale kabi.
Kuzomele niyilungise yonke le nto.
You should go and fix this.
Because these policies that are there, asinceda ngani namhlanje because ama decisions are taken which contradict what into esiyifunayo.
How are these policies assisting us?
I
Because
will-
izinqumo ezithathwayo ziyashayisana nalokho esikufunayo.
So let me make this example. We are declared that we are on a national state of disaster on electricity.
Nasi isibonelo sami ke kuthathwa isinqumo sokuthi sibhekene nenhlekelele mayaqondana nodaba lukagesi.
And then our national action plan, as our new Minister of Electricity says that the national action plan, it's his Bible.
Kusethi ke ungqongqoshe obekiwe uqondene indaba zikagesi ke uhlelo lolu ke ozongenelwa ngalo luyiBhayibheli lakhe.
So, am I taking your time, Chair?
Sithatha isikhathi eside kakhulu hlala.
Oh, I'm done. So can I just make this point and then I leave the podium? Thank you. So, where was I? Gonje, nami, gonje. Yes. So this Bible, let's back to using old technologies. Hence, the minister is speaking of repurposing the old power station that were already closed.
Manje leli iBhayibheli
So now, which means we are
emuva.
going back to coal, carbon intensive resources
Leli iBhayibheli
to
sibisela
mitigate. And we have science to back up renewables, that renewables indeed are the solution. But now we have an action plan which doesn't speak to climate change and emission reduction. So, ngiyaxolisa ukumosha isikhathi sakho mara uyangizwa ngiyaphi.
isibonelo sami sithi ke leli iBhayibheli elibekiwe lithi masibuyele emuva endleleni zakudala ezithinta amalahle okuphambana ngempela ke noguquguqulo esimo sezulu.
Mngani wami, those views are very important, like all of them. Maybe if ngithathe 2 minutes and you wanted to add something, ngicela uyibhale phansi uyabona? Sure. Ba.
I greet you all.
Yeah, igama lami nguSipho Mure,
My name
okwaziwa
is-
ngoSmith eThembisa.
Sipho More, who is known as Smith in Tembisa.
Yeah, ngihlala eWard 13.
I am from Ward 13.
Ngi-environmentalist.
I'm an environmentalist.
So I'm a geography student.
Ngumfundi ke
I'm
wafundi-
very much aware ngendaba ye-climate change.
Ngafunda igeography esikoleni so indaba le yoguquguquko esimo sezulu ngiyazi kahle hle.
Yeah, so today, I cannot sign for this bill to be implemented because
Ngakho-ke,
I foresee danger.
angikwazi ukuthi ngihambisane noma ngisayine ngivume ukuthi umthethosivivinyelo uphasiswe ngoba ngibona ingozi.
Where we come from, actually everywhere, like kona tina botaki, kunama recycling areas
In
and
all,
spaces.
in all areas where you find black people, there are recycling areas and open spaces.
And manje I'm afraid ukuthi me as a ward committee standing here, wanted to implement or sign for a document engaziyo ukuthi iyongicabanisana labantu laba ngaphandle.
Now I, as a ward committee member standing here, I cannot go and endorse a document that will cause conflicts between myself and the community.
So ngicabanga ukuthi ibill yona beyize kahle, even if yabona nale way ba-edithe ngakhona, it's clear and ifuna namazaza ngisebenzisa amazaza but today no.
It would have been
Ibhaleke
better
kahle.
if the bill was quite clear.
Yeah. So into engisaba ngalento lena eyokuthi asenzanga i-groundwork ekuqala bemele silungise before we come with this thing.
My main concern is that we did not do our groundwork. We should have fixed matters first before coming here.
Ngoba wonke umuntu la u-aware
Because-
ukuthi lento le esifuna ukuyenza la ngeke iphase.
Because everyone who is here is much aware that what we want to do will not pass.
Mhlawumbe abantu baseparlament abahlala elokishini bahlala somewhere.
Probably the
Izophasa
members of
kubo.
parliament do not live in the township and it might pass there.
Elokishini siyabhema izinto ezihlukene. Khona ababhemayo, khona abankawuzayo, khona ama-smokes, khona ama-rocker, khona ini.
In the township, we smoke different things.
So lokho nje kuphela for the climate change it's harmful.
That on its own is
yeah,
harmful when it comes to climate change.
And manje ngibe surprised ukuthi masifika la i-invite was calling for environmental and health economy ne-infrastructure.
I was surprised that when we came here, the invitation referred to in the environment, the economy,
Infrastructure.
and infrastructure.
And ngicabanga ukuthi health befanele ukuthi ibe khona.
I think they should invite the people from the Department of Health as well.
Because climate is geographical term, angithi?
Ngo-
And i-geography control movement yomuntu la emhlabeni.
Because this
So i-health
matter
enye yezinto umuntu azinidayo ukuthi amuve la emhlabeni.
concerns geography, which involves movements of people, and health is also a part of this.
So ngiyamangala ukuthi lo muntu we-infrastructure nalo we-economy kwi-climate change bakwethu.
It surprises me that you're involving people from the economy and infrastructure in climate change matters.
Yes, ngoba manje into engiyibhekile ukuthi bazothengisana lapha. That's why lo mntwana aba-confused ukuthi nisifuna imali yonke
That's
lento.
why,
Uyamangala umama lapho ukuthi umntwana wakhuluma ngemali, imali ubani ukhuluma.
Because now, what are they going to sell to us here? Because that is why the child was confused, wondering what is being sold here, and the lady in front as well was confused why the child was confused.
So nami njengoba ngimela ngizothi ibill angihambelani nayo total.
I'm here to say that I am totally against the bill.
Ngoba ibill ngizothi ihambe today bese in 20 years time ngizobe ngifile.
I will support
Isaliphazamisa abantu.
if I will support the bill today, then in 20 years' time, it might cause a problem among people.
So mhlambe mina ngayenza recommendation ukuthi before singaconsider indaba ebill, ake siphumelele ngaphandle silungise ezinye izinto. Wonke umuntu ofike la ushilo ukuthi mangene including nani parliamentarians. Maniza la ikasa nzanga ngichopa. Nize ngazo le ndlela lezi.
Maybe before we were to work on this bill, let's go and consider other things. Like members of the public did mention that when we were all coming here, we saw what's happening. I believe that you, members of parliament as well, did not come with a chopper to land here.
So ngicabanga ukuthi first things first, kune problem yokungcola elokishini.
There's a problem of waste and dirt in the township.
And kwayona kuphela leyo nto leyo i-climate change. Silahlela yonke into lapha
That's
abapampasi.
on its own.
Zonke izinto omunye ugoqa umntana omncane ayomlahlela lapha. Wonke lama gases lawa aphuma lapha aya kuphi?
That's
Aya ku-atmosphere.
on its own concerns climate change. You find people throwing pampers there. You find people even wrapping a child and dumping the child there as well. And all those emissions go up to the sky and cause climate change.
Ngoba ama gases wethu amaningi kakhulu. Besikhuluma nomunye umama sesamhleka la.
Because-
Athi farting alone it's yenze
There are many types of gases. I was talking to some people outside and the lady just laughed, saying that farting alone is a type of gas.
Yabo? So lo yasisi lo uyasuza mina ngiyabhema la. Oh sesenze vele.
If that lady is farting there and I'm smoking here, we've caused a mess already.
So manje ngicela ukuthi sihambeni siyoyenzani i-layout kahle kuqala. Kunobaba okhulumile la ukuthi as ward committees we are not getting utilized. That's why maybe we are underpaid and maybe we are underrated.
Can we please
in terms
go
of that?
and do some groundwork? Because there is a man who mentioned that we as ward committee members are not being utilized. We are being underpaid.
asinandaba nemali
We don't care about money.
as ward committees. Mhlambe yiyo lento le yenza ukuthi mhlambe kube ngathi kune problem.
We are not concerned about money matters as ward committee members because you might think that's causing a problem.
Yeah, kunamafoni ahlakaniphe kakhulu khona manje.
There are smartphones these days
Angayenza ukuthi ngikhulume neparlament ngilapha endlini.
that can help you to communicate.
Shaye yonke indaba eparlament ibe grand
I
ngale.
can communicate with the parliament while I'm in my house and discuss everything with parliament.
So lokho kimi makufika lo yababa uyangikhumbuza ukuthi ungathi abasazi ukuthi sikhona la bantu.
Now that man reminded me that it seems like you don't even know that we exist.
So sicela ukuthi mase ama committee yekeleni indaba 1000 ayisebenzi.
Could you please just forget about this 1,000 rand thing? It doesn't
Sinikezeni
work.
amafoni azokwazi ukusenza ukuthi sisebenze kahle.
Give us phones to help us to do our
Actually
work.
ama gadgets azoyenza ukuthi sisebenze sibe nedatha.
Or should I say gadgets to help us work? We need data.
Ngoba if senza ama reports sikhulume ngayo le ndaba le ye climate change unaware.
We do make reports and discuss matters of climate change unaware.
Ngiyaphuma ngiyolo mabachisa lapha. Hayi ngiyazochisa la in yabo.
I will go out there and see a man burning and I'll say, no, no, no.
Bathola abantwana abahleli babhema ugwayi ngikhipha ibhanda.
I'll find children smoking there and
Ngizama
I'll hit them with
ukuyi-reduce
the
climate
belt.
change.
By that, I'm trying to reduce climate change.
So anginamathulusi ukuthi ngathi further.
But I don't
So
have
enye into
tools.
engisabayo ngeparlament. Njoba sila today. Sizokhuluma.
I don't have
Senze yonke
tools
into.
to take them.
Somebody somewhere itenda lingenile.
I don't have tools to take the matter further. And also, I'm afraid that we are here today to discuss this with Parliament, but then some way, someone has received or obtained a tender.
So asifuni ukuthi masiza la sibe ngathi abantu abafuna izinto sinezandla sizosebenzela.
We don't want to come here and be like people want things. We've got hands, we will work.
So uma sisebenza sibambisana kulungile nyakuzwa baba. Uma sibambisana negovernment, iparlament ayingezi la ngendaba zokuthi kuzobe kunokudla. Asifuni ukudla.
We need to work
Sisukethembisa
together
size Katlehong.
with Parliament. We are not here for food.
Anizilethe endaweni yethu.
We will-
Iparlament abayiza kithi ayizethembisa la sihlala khona. Sivuke ngo-8. Sifike la ngo-8. Sila bekusikhathi ba no breakfast no lunch.
If Parliament was to come to us, they might go to us in Tembisa. We've been here since 8, there's no food, there's no lunch. What time is it now? We are hungry.
Dumelang.
Greetings to one and all.
Lebitso la ka ke Lerato Rasebetsa ke tswa Kwanele Ward 104.
My name is Lerato Sebetsa. I'm from Kwanele, Ward 14.
Ke tswa Siphumelele organization under Kwanele Youth Organization.
I'm from Siphumelele organization under that ward.
I would like to emphasize more about the members of parliament. I feel like you guys, you are dragging your feet when it comes to teaching us about climate change.
Ke batla hore- I want to talk about the members of the parliament that I think you drag your feet in terms of helping us and educating us about this bill.
I would like you, or at least Halkata, each and every community, at least once in a month.
I will be happy if in a community, at least you come once a month.
So that lorona re tlo le bontsha the strategy tse re nang le tsona le di ideas tse re nanang hore di ka thusa ho to fix the climate change.
So that we can also show you our strategies and our plans that can help in fixing the climate change.
So all we need to you guys, give the resources. We have everything, we have ideas, we have strategies and techniques. All we need is resources from you guys that we are shortage of now.
Ntho e re hlokang ho lona ke thepa kapa kofuto tsa ho re thusa hore re kgone ho etsa mosebetsi ona
Thank you
ho
very
tswa ho
much.
lona.
Thank you.
Ke lebohe haholo.
I'd just like to greet everyone. Hi, I'm Tuto Masondo. I'm from Kwetema. I'm from Ward 77.
Ke lakatsa ho dumedisa batho bohle, ke Thuto Masondo, ke tswa wardeng ya 77.
Okay, I'll try not to waste much of your time.
Ke tla
I'm
leka
sure,
hore ke se ke ka senya nako ya lona.
I'm sure most of the topics have been dealt on. We spoke about mostly everything, but I just want to get back to workshops. We'd like workshops from you guys. We would like campaigns, just
Hey.
something to build awareness as youth. I speak on behalf of the youth of Kwetema.
ke nahana hore dintho tse ngata sentse di builwe empa ke batla hore hona tje ke kgutlele morao hanyane ho bua ka hore ho be le matsholo ho be le mananeo a teng bakeng sa hore thusa tabeng ena.
And secondly, I'd also like for you to educate us on the procedure, okay? You've told us exactly how you're going to go about steps and the policies around climate justice. But
Ke-
now, once we have that in mind, who do we report to once the municipality doesn't reach out and lend a hand? Who do we go to?
Ke bone hore he ka nnete le lokela hore le re thuse ka thupelo ya hore na re dintho di tla etsahala jwang ka mohlala le re rutile ka phetoho ya tlamete ho tsa toka empa jwale ha o tloa tabeng ya masepala na ke bo mang bao re ka yang ho bona bakeng sa ho fumana thuso.
And then once we found the perpetrators, how do we hold those people accountable? Where do we start?
Ha re fumana batho bana ba robang molao re ba isa kae na re ka qale kae hore re kgone hore ba tobane le molao.
For example, our local parks.
Ka mohlala dirapa tsa rona tsa selehae
We have incidents where we have grass almost my height.
re na le diketsahalo mo fumanang jwang bo le boholo mohlomong bo batla bo lekana le nna ka bolelele.
And then us as community members, we come together and we try to cut the grass. So we put money together as community members, as locals, hoping that we could try fight the unmaintained parks.
Me jwalo ka baahi re kgobokanya dilopotsi ya bakeng sa hore re kgone ho fokotsa jwang bona e le hore serapa sa rona se ka ba boemong bo tshwanetseng.
Just recently, a few months ago, a few young girls in my community were sexually assaulted in my area due to the unmaintained parks. And now the parks are where we entrust our children to play, be safe. But now if they're being assaulted in these parks, where do we face? Who do we lay blame to?
Ka mohlala fela banana ba bararo hona sebakeng sa rona ba ile ba hlekefetswa mme ba tshwarwa hampe ka tsa thobelano empa jwale potso ko re batho ba jwalo ba etsang ketso tse jwalo na re ba tlaleha ho kae re ba isa kae bakeng sa hore ba tobane le molao.
So what I was asking, as the other speaker said, we have the resources, we have the means. We could do it ourselves and facilitate with your assistance. So we ask, can you guys lend a hand, extend a helping hand to us local communities?
Jwalo ka ho bontshitswe pejana sebuise se mona se bontshitswe re na le dikofuto re na le maano empa ntho re kopang ke lona fela ke hore le re thuseng le kenye letsoho le lona bakeng sa ho thusa mathateng ana ohle.
Thank you for your time.
Ke lebohe bakeng sa nako ya lona.
All right, good afternoon, everybody.
Ke le dumedise bohle.
I'm Ulrich Steenkamp from the Climate Justice Action Group.
Ke nna Steenkamp ho tswa ho Justice Action Group.
Yes, we're a forum with community-based organizations wrapped all around Gauteng.
Re mokgatlo o a batho ba tswang ka ntle empa ba le monana province ya Gauteng.
We've been long in this struggle about fighting for change that will actually positively impact this thing of climate change.
Re ntse ha e sa le ntse re lwantshana le taba ena ya phetoho ya climate ho tloela gale.
Due to this long time, I wish I could have rubber-stamped this bill that's in front of us.
Nako ena yohle ke ne ke a lakatsa hore nkabe kile ka watlakanya stempe billing ena e re tobaneng le yona kajeno.
Because it is high time that we do something about this crisis that we're facing.
Hobane ka nnete jwale ke nako ya ho nka bohato bakeng sa tlokotsi ena re tobaneng le yona.
But I can't, and I'll have to give you a review of this act as to why I can't.
Nkekebe ka kgona empa ke lokela hore ke lefefela makolopetso a hore ke ka baka lang ha ke kekebe ka kgona.
Let me first start with the good.
E re ke qadise ka botle.
I have to applaud you for actually coming to communities.
Ke batla ho le leboha ka hore le tle mona ho baahi.
and not having these hearings in inaccessible places such as Midrand or wherever.
Hore le ske la ba le diboka tse kang tsena dibakeng tse mabotho-botho jwalo ka bo Midrand jwalo jwalo.
Now, let me go to a little bit of specificity of the act.
E re jwale ke tobane le taba ya bili ena.
It is very good that you said, in case there's any legal conflicts, that the act, the climate change bill, if it becomes an act, must prevail. Amandla to that.
Ke nnete hore le bontshitse hore haeba ho ba le dikgohlakgohlano tse itseng tsa molao, bili ena le ha o ka ba jwang e lokela hore e kenywe tshebetsong, mme ke a le leboha ka seo.
Yes, and chapter 1, section 3, part K says you're going to be raising awareness to the communities and so forth.
Me kgaolo ya pele bontshitse hore le tla ba le matsholo bakeng sa ho fana ka thupelo ho baahi.
That's good, you should continue with it, but
Re a leboha le lokela ho tswela pele ka seo, empa
let me go to the points where I need clarity on or the bad parts of this act.
e re ke dintlheng tseo ke hlokang tlhakiso ho tsona kapa karolo e sentle ha o tluwa ho bili ena.
Chapter 2 talks about municipal forums and provincial forums, correct?
Kgaolo ya bobedi e bua ka ditshebeletso tsa masepala na ha o jwalo.
But there's no mention of capacitating these people.
Empa ha o bue ka hore batho bana bona ba fuwa thuso jwang.
If I go to these councillors or whoever and I talk to them about anything related to the environment or climate change, I get blank stares.
Ha ke ya ho makhanselara ke re ke lo bua le ona bakeng sa eng kapa eng e mabapi le phetoho ya climate, ha ke fumane letho.
How are we expecting this country to have a positive response to climate change if the people who are spearheading implementation knows nothing?
Re ka lebella jwang hore mathata a pheto ya climate a loke ha ba etedi pele bona ba sa tsebe letho ka taba ya pheto ya climate.
This attendance of this hearing today also shows the breakdown of communication between departments of government in the different spheres of government.
Ha o sheba boemo ba seboka sena sa kajeno bo bontsha hore ruri ha hona kamano le kgokahanyo pakeng sa ditho tsa masepala ha istana le parliament.
There's no mayors here, there's no provincial governments here, there's no minimal local councillors here. The council is actually falling asleep as I speak. Very rude.
Ha hona bo majoro, ha hona baemedi ba mmuso ba tswang provinceng. Ke bua tjenana mo councilor ka nnete o ithobaletse.
Secondly, chapter 6, section 32.
Ntho ya bobedi kgaolo ya botshelela mme karolwana ya 32.
Where you talk about the offences and what happens if people are offending this act.
Mo le buang teng ka batho ba robang molao wa act ena kapa bill ena.
But there's only one offense. Seriously?
Empa fela hona le ho roba ha molao o le hong fela na ka nnete ka ba ditho di ka ba jwalo.
If I have to quote, it says, it's basically about failure of notifying and of submitting your carbon budgets. Is that all?
Ihanka ikotsa fela icho ho hloleha ho tlaleha boemo bona ba budget tse leng teng mo.
What about failure to implement your plans?
Ho thweng ka ho hloleha ho kenya tshebetsong maano a lona.
Complying to the air quality emission standards.
Ho tshwarisana le
There's loads of legislation, guidelines, documents that's giving the dictation as to how things are happening.
Hona le melawana le melao le tataiso e leng teng bakeng sa hore na ebe sena se ka etsuwa jwang.
Or how they are supposed to happen, but there's no accountability measures.
Empa le ha o le jwalo ho ntso sena ya ikarabellang ha o tluwa tabeng eno.
All we will see is Sasol or Eskom or whoever just say, oh no, sorry, we couldn't comply to this budget, but we're going to apply for an exemption. Can't you? When are we going to breathe clean air?
Se go se bonang fela ko re Eskom Sasol ba re ka nnete re silafatsa moya empa jwale ba fumana keketseho ha o tluwa budgeting ena. Ga ntse re tla hema moya o hlwekileng le neng.
So This issue of climate change has been a problem for a long time.
Taba ena ya phetoho ya climate, ibile bothata bo boholo nako e telele haholo.
The time frames is not specific in this thing.
Ha o tloha tabeng ya dinako tse beilweng, ha di a toba hantle ha o tloha tabeng ena.
Science is giving us less than a decade to make any positive changes. Sorry, I'm just going to skip fast because translating is chowing my time. Uzoba strong, please. So, we are in a serious crisis. We need urgent action. There's dollar dates, dollar anything serious. When are you going to take us seriously? And when are you going to hold these people accountable? You are writing acts, nice. When are these people going to be held accountable? Where are we going to enter and say these people are wrong, or this member of parliament, or this councillor, or whoever knows nothing about the portfolio has been given to? We need accountability. This thing is urgent. You guys are hana-hanaing and purpuring around whilst we are suffering. Change is needed now. Thank
I don't know whether to be strong. Oh, it's English. This
I greet you all. Chairperson, how are you?
Okokuqala bengicela ukudlulisa lokucanga ngoba ikimi lento lena. Bengicela next time please ningayenzi kaso.
Could you please do it differently next time?
Ningasintimidate ne.
Please do.
Ngokhuluma kwenu nangokwenza kwenu izinto.
Could you
Like
please
now masizohlala la.
Could you please avoid intimidating us by how you speak and how you do things?
Manje mangizohlala la. The guy was controlling lana. Umpusha ngathi ngumntwana uzongitshela ngathi ngumntwana.
Like when
I know that maybe you authority somewhere la khona but lana ngithi into ye community.
When I came to sit down, the guy who was having to sit down pushed me like a child, treated me like a child. I know that he has some authority wherever he is from, but here it's a community area. Please do not treat us that way.
Okay, ngiyabonga le. Ithindlule ukuthi. Based kulezi zinto esikhuluma ngazo ze climate change, okokuqala angihambelana nebill mina.
And now when it comes to this matter, I am against the bill. I do not support the bill.
Based kulezi zinto lezi ezinise bazikhulumile but I'll just strike at 22 zokuthi first indaba ye infrastructure.
They spoke about many things. I'll just mention two. The issue of infrastructure firstly.
Yes, because of on that bill mangifunda kakhulu yakhulunywa ngendaba zokuthi mina bengithatha into ye disaster management kakhulu yabona, but I'm saying it's a part of infrastructure. The reason being is ama bridge wethu, ama water storm drainage wethu concerning should sibe nemvula.
At first, I thought this has to do with disaster management and so forth, but now it has to do with infrastructure. When you look at our bridges and our
water storm
and water storm drainages,
yes, as I came kangathweni ngibuya eThembiso ngisazi introduce nguyile moka Ndlovu ngibuya u14 eThembiso ne.
they are not in a good condition or standard. My name is William Ndlovu from Tembisa. I should have introduced myself firstly.
Yes. There was a storm last year, I think. Yeah, there was a storm whereby ama-floods kwayenza whatever izindlu zabantu zahamba ne.
Kube nemvula enkulu unyaka odlule where there were floods and there were damages to people's houses and so forth.
But the reason for ukuthi kwenzeke lokho is a part of climate change, but the main thing is to do infrastructure again.
Imbangela enkulu yalokho yebo uguquguquko wesimo sezulu kodwa futhi ingqalasizinda nayo inegalelo.
The la manzi bahamba khona, that stream lesambe kusamanzi, the bridge elaphana.
Where the water was passing on that stream there is a bridge.
That bridge has been like that maybe since ngabo 80 banibani. Lincane akusi bridge lokuthi maybe le accommodate whatever force lebe yizo.
It's a low-lying bridge which has been there for a very long time. It could not have been able to accommodate that amount of water.
Then when we talk about that infrastructure again, I said that thing happened. Namanja, I don't think there is a plan ukuthi on that bridge kumele kwenziwe should.
Selokho kwenzeka lokho kumanje angibona ukuthi likhona uhlelo olwenziwe ukuthi uma ngase kuphinde kwenzeke lokho kuyokwenzeka kanjani kulelo bloho lelo.
Ingawo to do ngalo infrastructure. And again when I read on this policy khona le part ekhuluma but the minister needs to consider, there's one part in Kaza 80, the best scientific research or whatever. lapha, ne?
Mangifunda lapha ke khona kubhalwe khona ukuthi ungqongqoshe kumele abheke indlela ephuma phambili kwezesayensi ukuqhubeka kusho into esinjalo.
Yes. The thing is, when we read all these things, it's more scientific to say, ekuruleni thina la, I don't think ukuthi angazi ukuthi impact kanjani na that global warming, angazi.
Lento esikhuluma ngayo na ukushisa kakhulu kumhlaba angazi ukuthi la I'm not sure how it affects us here at Eguruleni.
Because of on the bill itself, no, ukuthi uchaze something, but ngizoza kuyo ngale into ayichazile. La ekuruleni, we don't know ukuthi kuma companies now, what emission exactly abayiproducayo and kumele ibe kangakanani exactly ukuthi i-maintain the standard of that climate change.
Asazi ukuthi la Eguruleni the industries how much emissions are they emitting? We do not even know the standard of how much they are allowed to emit.
Because of that thing, ikona lapho kuma companies ukuthi when you do this thing exactly kumele u allowed to do emission engaka ukudlula lana, this is exactly what they're going to charge you if there's any penalty.
Enkampanini kuyazeka ukuthi ke uma ukhiphe okungaka uyohlawuliswa kangaka bayazibona.
Then ibuyele bekule point le ukuthi ku infrastructure yethu asiluse infrastructure MMC bengisabuyela kuwe futhi.
Let us please fix our infrastructure, MMC. I'm referring to you now.
Again, I'm still going back to indaba zama water storm drainages now.
We need proper water storm drainages
Planning
systems.
ama bridge wethu ayikho right.
Our plans for our bridges are not
Bridges wethu,
proper.
ama water stream wethu la hamba khona ama bridges wethu awekho right.
Our bridges and the water streams are not aligned properly.
Collection leyo futhi yododi, and it's very embarrassing because of when kwenziwa i-strike, complain about that service delivery, we're still gonna drive in lapho, nikhulume nga whatever, nisho ukuthi maybe le councillor or le mayor level iyabheda. But only to find that nihlala lapho ninonke.
There is also an issue with refuse collections, and sometimes we do protest and we have those strikes. You will come and say, yes, we know that this councillor is not performing properly, yes, but you also live in the very same areas.
They don't live, they drive to that area, they don't live there. Please. They
Niyafika
drive there.
niza kulezo ndawo anihlali kuzo.
Yabona. Then ingakuchaza ukuthi let's start again ningeje kahle ne community. Let's start fixing the problem infrastructure, ni fixe the problem your communication nathi.
Masiqale phansi ke nixoxisa nomphakathi silungise inkinga lezi engqala sizinda njalo njalo.
Ubhuti uyakhuluma ngendawo yase Transkei yamanzi nani. That thing I for mina ngibona ngathi akusi into enhle bengasitshela yona because of what I wanted to find out exactly ukuthi on that community they have running waters na ama tap aya lapho na.
My brother here spoke about the issue
bekumele si understand it.
of-
Uzositshela ngabantu maybe ukuthi batha kamanzi edamini somewhere. Again ifela infrastructure.
Of
Akusi
the-
something angihamba epreach abantu nathi siyenze lokhu for climate angaphinda yenze.
You spoke
It's like-
about issues concerning the people from the Eastern Cape. We do not know whether they had tap water or what, or maybe he's talking about things that has to do with dams. He must not go to people and talk about that. He mustn't do that again because we don't know the infrastructure that they have in that area.
No, ngiyabonga. So sukumile.
Thank you, thank you. Chairperson,
There were 3 hands that were noted. Whoever, which ones? Okay, what's up? This is. I think we must tolerate one another. I'm calling for calm. I'm calling for calm. One speaker, with due respect to you, Babane, I start this Katsakosi. But I'm calling for calm. Right? People of Ekurule. I'm calling for calm. Hlisani moya. Ngiyacela. Angithi, let's tolerate one another. All the views are important here. One speaker stands here and says they've been here since 8, right? And they are hungry. We must take full cognizance of that. 2. Angit. So let's tolerate one another. If we had said we are going to take the second round and time does not allow it, there's nothing that forces us. But there must be consensus, right? Isabel.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Ntibi Modise. I'm the Climate and Energy Campaigner for Greenpeace Africa.
Igama lami uNhlanhla Sibisi, ngivela kuyi-Climate Greenpeace Africa. Igama lenhlangano engivela kuyona.
Chair, I have only 3 points that I'm just going to emphasize here and try to be as brief as possible.
Sihlalo kunamaphuzu nje amathathu engizozama ukuthi ngishaye ngeinqamlelayo njengoba ngikhuluma ngawo.
So I just first want to recognize the lived experiences that the communities have been talking about, and that's basically what they understand. And unfortunately, Tabang, my good friend, you will find Uguti, people don't really understand the science. There are those who do, but I would like to urge the committee to translate those lived experiences into the bill that you want to ultimately come up with.
Okokuqala nje ngiqala ukuqala ngokuthi ngamukele lokhu okushiwo iba abaningi abakhona lapha ngaphakathi kwethu bechaza indlela abaqonda ngayo uma kukhulunywa ngokuguquguquka kwesimo sezulu. Ngakho ngizocela sihlalo ukuthi njengoba abantu beyiqonda ngalendlela le ndaba nawe uzama ukuyenza futhi ibe ulimo oluzogcina liqondwa abantu bonke.
And then the second point that I'd like to speak to, it has to do with the political will. And it basically speaks to what the different political parties that are represented here, how do you take climate change? Do you take climate change as you seriously want the community to understand? And thanks to the explanation that Tabang has given, but not all of us grasp it. But do you as the political parties understand what climate change? Two speakers here made an emphasis on a climate crisis. We're no longer experiencing climate change. And yes, I know there are people who don't believe in climate change, but I'm assuming that you guys do understand the climate science. And the climate science no longer talks about climate change, it talks about a climate crisis. Hurricane Freddy right now has been in record the longest hurricane that has actually existed, and now it's heading, for Mozambique. Those are just like one example after many examples that we have gone through.
Ngifuna ukukesibili ukukhuluma ngezithinta ezepolitiki. Ngifuna ukwazi ukuthi nina njengekomiti njengoba nihleli lapho niqonda kanjani lento yokuguquguquka kwesimo sezulu ngokwezombusazwe enikuzona ngoba omunye ukhulumile lapha ngaphambili ukhulume ngokuthi empeleni njengamanje asisakhulumi ngokuguquka kwesimo sezulu. Sisenkingeni uma kuthiwa indaba uma kukhulunywa ngokuguquka kwesimo sezulu. Ngokwesibonelo nasi sishingishane nje okukhulunywa ngaso manje sibheke ngase esukuvela ngase Mozambique okukhulunywa ngaso. Zonke lezi zinto zibonisa ukuthi njengoba echazile uThabang eyibeka le ndaba futhi bezwa abathile abakwaziyo ngokwescience kodwa abanye bangaqonda. Kodwa ngempela sisenkingeni. Manje ngifuna ukwazi ukuthi nina ke ngokwezepolitiki nina niqonda kanjani le ndaba? Sikuphi kahle hle ngempela?
And then to try and answer the question about whether we endorse or we don't endorse this climate change bill, it is subject to that it is an ambitious climate change bill. Tabang reminded us about, even Deputy Slado, they reminded us about our commitments. And going back to what I said earlier on about the science is real. That's the reason why we are committed to actually reducing our own emissions. And yes, I do hear the arguments of other community members who are talking about why are we being pushed. Now that speaks to another issue. We are a global power, by the way, when it comes to our representation of the African continent. What are we doing to tell the likes of China, the US, the UK, EU, that listen, you can't push us to take drastic measures when you guys are still continuing? Thanks to the likes of Donald Trump, the US is where it is. But China, all these other countries that I've just mentioned, they are going ahead and they're urging us. But however, climate change will impact each and every human being on this planet.
Uma sekuziwa ke endabeni yokumbuzo enifanele nguphendule ukuthi ngiyayuseka noma ngweseki konke lokho kuxhomeke ekutheni ugqoze sinalo uma sekuziwa kule ndaba yokuguquka kwesimo sezulu lungakanani ngempela ngoba phela isayensi iqinisile isayensi ayikwazi ukuqamba amanga njengoba kuchaziwe lapha echaza uThabang naye echaza enaba ukuthi isayensi ineqiniso kodwa manje ugqozi lwethu lungakanani futhi ngesikhathi esifanayo sifuna ukubheka phela ukuthi asizitholi yini sesidonswa yikhala amazwe njengeShayina wona azositshela ukuthi asibekele imithetho lapha ebese thuthuke kangaka wona ngezomnotho manje sifuna ukubheka ke ukulinganisa sibuke ukuthi njengoba abanye becabanga ukuthi siyaphoqelelwa manje kodwa ingabe kunjani ngeke ngikhulume ngoDonald Trump neUnited States kodwa ngokuqondile nje iChina okuyiyona ebonakala sengathi ihamba phambili ekutheni akubekwe lemithetho ibe yona seyikuzuzile vele kufunayo.
And finally, Chair, here's one problem which is a reality that this bill is going to face. It's going to be watered down by business because you guys rub shoulders with business, but at the same time in the bill, and as was mentioned by Ulrich, that there's just one thing that you are putting instead of listing the penalties that these companies should face. We know that Sasol, we know that your ArcelorMittal, they have strong lobbyists and they rub shoulders with you guys, they take you out for dinner, they take you on holidays and wherever. And at the end of the bloody day, all bills and acts get watered down. So, which is why I understand very much the frustration of most people. The majority here said that they don't support this bill. However, I'm going back to saying that subject to the ambitiousness of it. And Thabang, please teach our honorable members there. They are using plastic in front of them. Not only that it's going to end up in our beaches or our rivers, but 99% of the plastic comes from fossil fuels, which is oil. So in other words, you are contributing to climate change, Nani. And another thing, another bad habit, which, okay, besides what Ulrich said, about the fact that the honorable member is sleeping there. But can you get off your phones and show that you are paying attention to us? You came to us. But I see other members here, they were sitting on their phones. And ma'am, you're going to need a big fan, much bigger than that one when the climate crisis finally hits.
Into yokugcina ke ezokwenza ukuthi lo mthetho sivivinyo okukhulunywa ngayo ungasebenzi ingoba ningamadlela ndawonye nosomabhizinisi amabhizinisi laba abangani benu kanti ibona futhi abaphinde bangcolise lokho esikhuluma ngakho ukungcola okukhulunywa ngakho inkampani enjengosasol nezinye labo bantu lezo ikhulu zalapho ziyanithatha zinikhiphe zinifake nihambe niyodla kamnandi ngazo manje umbuzo ukuthi uzokwenzeka kanjani ukuthi kushaya umthetho ozosebenza ngalo mthetho sivivinyo okukhulunywa ngawo manje yona inkinga leyo engicabanga ukuthi izophazamisa ekutheni lo mthetho sivivinyo usebenze kubuyela kuleli yaphuze ngengalisho ukuthi lo mthetho sivivinyo ukuthi uyamukelwa noma wamukelwa kuxhomeke ekutheni lungakanani ugqoze sinalo lokuwenza usebenze njengoba uchaza ube secela ke ndanga uThabang ukuthi uyacela ukuthi nani njengoba nilapho njengekomiti nifundiswe ngoba kwamanje amanzi eniwaphuza ahlala kulezi zinto zeplastiki enikuzona eniphuza ngazo lezi zinto njengoba zinjena ngesinye isikhathi sigcina sesiphelele emadamini ethu noma emfuleni ethu manje wonke lowo monakalo ubonisa ukuthi nani nisenesandla kulokho esithi silwa nakho njengoba sila okunye futhi akuvezile ukuthi uyacela ukuthi amafoni lana eniwaphetha ke niwabeke phansi ngoba nawo enza ningasinaki njengoba sikhuluma nani
Dumela ya ka pelo lona ke Kenneth Matidi o tswa ko Vuk'uzenzele Development Forum ko Sharpeville Ward 14 I'm also a member of Val Environmental Justice Alliance ke ka le dumedisa hape ntlo e kopane ke ema ka mona ka pelo lona ke le o mong wa di emerging farmers.
Greetings to everyone, and I belong to various organizations, and I also represent my communities.
Batswadi re na le bothata bo boholo how tleng tabeng tsa lefatshe, especially for rona, the emerging farmers.
I'm also an emerging farmer, and we have very serious challenges when we come to issues concerning emerging farmers and land.
Yes, hona le bothata ka ho di masepala mo e lo reng ba tla re fa dilisi tsa dilemo tse tharo, ebe ha re ya ho di province teng bona ba re ba batla ho thusa batho ba nang le dilisi tsa dilemo tse 10.
We have a very serious challenge because with the municipality, they only lease land for us for 3 years. And when we go to the province for the programs, we are told that they want people who have the lease of
Over 10 years.
over 10 years lease.
Yes. Taba ena ya lefatshe bana beso ke bothata haholo.
This issue of land is a very big challenge.
Ke bothata ho haholo hoba re le tjena re na le lefatshe le lo reng batswadi ba rona ba ne ba le owner pele.
It's a big challenge, very big problem, because as we stand here, our parents previously owned land.
Ho e lo reng re ile ra tloswa ha bohloko mo mo ne re phela teng.
We were removed from those places where we were staying.
Empa ka jeno re sana le bothata ka lefatshe rona re le bana ba South Africa.
But even still today, we still have problems regarding land as children of South Africa.
Ka ho if re le hore rona re ka thuseha ka ntlo lefatshe ho bolela hore ha ona mo re tla thuseha teng.
Even if there are well-intended interventions, without land, we are not going to be assisted.
Re kopa hore ha le khutlela parlamenteng le tle le bolelle president hore ke khale re metse taba ye ya land reform re kopa a sebetse ka pelenyana ka yona.
We are making a humble request to you when you go back to the parliament. Please relay this message to the president that it has been too long waiting for the land reforms. Please tell the president to hurry up and expedite that program. Because he's left with very little time.
Ke yona taba pele eo. Taba bobedi ke tla lakatsa ho bua ka yona.
That was the first issue. The second one I want to touch on
ke taba ya yona bill e.
Is regarding this bill.
Ka haru bill ena ke ya di bona kaofela department di tletse di teng mo.
Inside this bill, I can see that there are many departments which were consulted in this bill.
Impa fela ke sa bone ya maponesa le ya yona justice ka haro yona.
But I do not see the police as well as justice in the list of those departments.
Okay, ke ya bobedi. Taba ya boraro e ke ratang ho bua ka yona.
The third issue.
Nka lakatsa rona re le baahi ba lekwa re ka lakatsa hore hohle mo e leng teng re ka bana le tsona di climate centers, climate change centers.
As communities in Lekwa, it is our wish that we have climate centers in our localities.
Hore tsohle tse lo reng di a etsahala ka haro Lekwa hoba e thontswe e le enngwe ya di high priority area.
So that each and everything that or incidents which happens in our area in Lekwa, so that we know where to report it and that they are priority areas.
Le ka haro tsona di center tseo re lakatsa ho bona hona le maponesa le tsona baahlodi hore ba ahlole batho ba ile reng ba etsa diphoso hang.
We would like to have police in those centers as well as the judges who are going to deal with the matters immediately as they are reported. That's all I have. Thank you very much. My name is Mxolisi Majege.
From Guatemala,
I am from Guatemala.
from Operation Dudula.
I represent Operation Dudula.
Mina bahlali, into engiletha la kakhulu
What brings me here
ukuthi eSouth Africa
is that here in South Africa,
abahlali balana abanandaba nabo kakhulu.
our citizens of South Africa are not being considered.
That's why ni sogela lento snacks eziza nalabantu ama-legal foreigners because benza illegal dumping. Thina sinemigqomo emakhaya.
That is why we have this high levels of emissions. It's because of these foreigners, because they do illegal dumpings. We have dustbins in our, rubbish bins in our homes.
And abanamaphepha labantu mara kusebenza bona emafemini wethu.
They do not have permits, but it is them who work in our factories.
Emakitchen, they are everywhere.
Even they also work as domestic workers all over the place.
Manje mina bengifuna igovernment yethu
Now I am making a humble request to our government
ukuthi sinike amandla senze citizen arrest.
to capacitate us and give us authorities so that we are able to make citizen arrests,
Because angeke hlala nama-criminal ekhantrini yethu.
because we are not prepared to stay with criminals in our country.
Ngiyabonga.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Ngiyabingelela abahlonishwa abakhona lapha endlini ngaphakathi.
Greetings to honorable members.
Ngisuka ku Katoras Recycling Association.
I am from Katoras Recycling Association.
Igama nguMaxwell kaNdlovu.
My name is Maxwell Ndlovu.
Yeah. Okubhlungu kithi singabantu abahlala kakhulukazi elokishini.
What is said about us township residents
Nabahlala emakhaya.
and those who stay in rural areas?
Igovernment yethu ikude kakhulu nathi.
Our government is very far from us.
And njoba sikhuluma ngendaba ye-climate change nje.
As we are talking about climate change,
Asikhulumi ngento yala eSouth Africa singama-South Africans.
we are not talking about the issue of here in South Africa as South Africans
Neyinkinga thina singabantu esibhekene nazo singama-South Africans.
and problems which impact us as South Africans.
Lento le ethi mangabe uthi uyayibheka mina nje ngokwami beside ukuthi i-association yethu i-against i-bill yona uqobo.
That is some of the issues which we considered, hence our associations does not support this bill.
Nami ke personally ayikho i-bill yase-South Africa engikholwa ukuthi ngakhona ukuyi-approve.
And even me personally, there is no bill here in South Africa which I think I will give my support.
Ngoba wonke amabhili asayiniwe eSouth Africa isikhathi esiningi abenefita abantu engathi ama-foreign countries noma ama-western not thina la besihlala khona.
Because all the bills which are introduced here in South Africa, most of the time they benefit Western countries and other outside countries, not us here in South Africa.
Instead ukuthi thina kube khona esikuzuzayo iyasicindezela.
Instead of us benefiting, we do not benefit anything.
Ngafanisa nje mangabuza ngisho kubaba uqungebe lapha ngimbuza ukuthi ama-buyback center ala formalize mangaki ngeke ngiyithole answer.
Even if I can ask the chairperson as to how many buybacks, formal buybacks do we have here, I don't think that I will get an answer.
Kodwa i-duty ye-national government abantu bakithi bazama all means before even lokhu climate change lokhulunywa ngayo ingakafiki abantu bayazama ngendlela abazama ngayo but abatholi support ku-government.
Because our people are trying all their best, but they do not get any support whatsoever from our government.
And indawo kuhlala khona abantu ngeke iyeke ukuncola uma uthola ukuthi awekho ama-buyback center nama-transfer station.
And we cannot deal with illegal dumping sites if there are no buyback centers in our localities.
Kodwa lokho is duty ye national government ufuna ukuthi yehle is a provincial from provincial ye municipality.
And that is the responsibility of the national government, which must engage the public, the provincial government, and the provincial government must engage municipalities.
Not yonke lemthetho lenemihle esibekelwa yona kuthiwe si approve nathi si approve ngokungazi kanti izobe icindezele thina.
Not all these bills which we are requested to approve, and once we have approved those bills, we as communities do not benefit out of those, do not benefit anything out of those bills.
Ake ngifanze njengomama, umama ushilo lwathi una 15 years eku recycling hambe collect.
Let me make an example about the lady here. She mentioned that she has been doing recycling for 16 years now, for 15 years now.
And ufundisa ingane ezinye zeku tertiary.
And he is educating her children. Some of them are at tertiary.
Ezinye izothola position ze parliament zikhohle ukuthi zimshiye sebenza kanjani lapho.
Some of them will get positions in parliament and they will forget about her contribution.
Zobe seyifly ngama blue light bengasazi ukuthi kwakukhona umama ofana naloyo.
And they will be going around with blue lights, forgetting that the mother paid for their education.
Njengoba sikhuluma ngama buyback center nje, I know ukuthi kusasa kuzoqhamuka ozikhondla banikezwe itender kube bona futhi abazocollecta udodi wona lwaselokishini.
As I'm speaking about the lack of buyback centers, I know that tomorrow wealthy businessmen will be getting tenders to come and service this area by taking waste, removing waste.
Still lo mama lo ayikho into emncedayo lapho.
Still, the lady is not going to benefit anything from that.
Kodwa wonke umuntu nani ningama officials nenibone donsa itrolley from a long distance.
But a lot of people, including yourselves, honorable members, you may have noticed with a trolley from a long distance.
Kodwa akekho ongathi ake sincede lo mama lo simakhele just nje indlwana azoqoqela kuyona udodi ngoba unceda still ilokuzana i-community yala.
But no one will ever come and say, let us assist the lady by just building her a storage so that he can put all the recycling material.
Ngaphandle kwalokho nizothumela i-oppressor oppressor west imnike imali encane west.
But instead you will bring an oppressor who is going to oppress her and give her very little money.
Ndate Modise ngicela ukuthi next month buya mhlambe soy approve. Sewune number ukuthi iSouth Africa iyonke inama buyback center amangaki. Into eqale wabantu there's no one. Ngaphandle kwalokho abantu abamhlophe. So please ukuze sikhona ukubhaya ama ID nani izaneni ne something. Zane nama buyback center enziwe lama buyback center. Kuba wabantu hayi uqhamuka umuntu osuka le kwelinye izwe azorana lo buyback center. Kodwa nangu mama kudala khona la. So ngiyacela ukuthi into yase South Africa ake kube yase South Africa. Abantu bokuhamba baya exploiter. I don't want to lie to you. Even ama government, ama building a government, I astrijwa, izinto ziya cross ama border. Abantu baka ama big house, amazona. When South Africa thina sele nani namabonda kuphela. Thank you. Ngiyabonga.
Mr. Modise, next time when you come here, maybe we'll support this bill. And when you know how many buyback center we have here, and I think that if you make interventions so that the communities can benefit, because as it is right now, people from outside are the only ones who are benefiting. They are also do as they wish, and they are stripping buildings, and they are building big houses where they are staying in their home countries. So I am asking you to consider that if you want our support. I thank you. My name is Pauline Muchumi.
M-O-C-U-M-I.
M-O-C-U-M-I.
Okay. Ngipuma eFosloras.
I'm from Fosloras.
Kuyi organization ebizwa ngamaDIA.
organization, I represent an organization called DIA.
Kanti futhi ngiku-WECCF, which is Women, Energy and Climate Change Forum.
I also serve on Women, Climate Change and Climate Change Forum.
Okay, njengoba ngime la ngizocela ukuthi ngiqale ngibonge ukuthi nikwazi ukuthi nifinyelele kule ndawo.
As I stand here, I want to start by thanking you for coming to our area.
Ngiyaqala ukuyibona le nto.
I am seeing this for the very first time.
Angazi ke noma mhlambe yiko ukuthi sikhathazwa i-climate change.
I don't know whether is it because of the fact that climate change is a challenge.
Ngiqale ukuyazi mina ngo-2014.
I knew about it in 2014,
Even though ngiyazi ukuthi kudala yona yaqala.
even though I knew that it started a long time ago before then.
And engifuna ukuku-emphasize kakhulu la about this climate change bill.
What I want to emphasize the most regarding this climate change bill,
Ngicela ukuthi i-involve wonke umuntu ingashiyi umuntu ngaphandle.
I am making a humble request that it involves everyone. There must not be anyone left outside.
Maningi ama-bills esinawo la eSouth Africa.
We have a lot of bills here in South Africa.
And most yalawo ma-bills lawo abantu abafana nathi aba on the lower ground. Azikho izimvo zabo.
Most of those bills, people like me on the ground, their views are not considered.
Kungani kwenzeka ukuthi uma ngabe kuhlelwa izinto ngeimpilo zethu thina singa-involve?
Why is it that when there are plans made regarding our lives without us being involved?
Ziningi izinto ezenzakala ekuhlaleni.
There are many challenges which we have in our localities.
Ngakhuluma nje for instance eForestloras lapha kamasipala.
For instance, at the Forestloras municipality,
Ziningi izinto esayisifise ukuthi sibatshele zona ezenzakalayo emphakathini kodwa uma uyakhona babheka ukuthi ubani.
there are many challenges which we want to make them aware about, but when you go there to report them, they look as to who is this coming to report.
For instance, khona manje there's iTelemukhwerane isibhedlela.
At the moment, there is a hospital, Katlehong.
Yakhiwa iTelemukhwerane kwakhiwa irank kwafakwa ama-stalls. If ngingenamanga there are more than 50 stalls. Zihleli azisebenzi, there's only 5 or 6 ezisebenzayo.
The hospital was built and as well as the taxi rank next to the hospital, and there were stalls which were built there. But most of those stalls are not working as I speak.
Ngike ngaya mina ngisebenza.
I am not.
Ngiyofuna indawo khona. I was told ukuthi zinabanikazi bazo.
I once went there as an unemployment person, and I wanted to start a small business, but I was told that those stalls have got their owners.
So ngalondlela lengizama ukuchaza ukuthi ezinye izinto uma ngabe senza ama-bills or senza imithetho before siyiphasisa kuba ama-acts. Ake sizameni ukuthi sixhumane nemphakathi ukuze sizwe izikhalo zemiphakathi zonke ngoba i-climate change ayilimazi kuphela thina la, even our neighboring states nabo ngokwabo banenkinga nge-climate change.
So what I'm saying is that when you make these bills before they are enacted, please consult the public so that you know exactly what are the challenges in the public. Because climate change, we know the impact, and it does not only affect us, but neighboring countries as well.
Okunye futhi engachaza ukuthi sebekushilo kodwa ke siyazi ukuthi thina la eAfrica we are the most polluting country la eAfrica.
Another aspect which I would like to emphasize, which was mentioned earlier, we know that here in Africa, we are the most polluters. Yes?
Okay. Sipolluta kanje ngani ngoba sithanda lento le. Nayi.
We are polluting because we like money.
Asibheki impilo zabahlali baseNingizimu Afrika.
We are not considerate about the lives of South African citizens.
Ukuthi siphila kanjani akukho lutho. The only thing engiyibonayo eyenzakalayo, ugovernment wethu uzama uku-create abantu abazoba dependent kuye.
Our challenges, it does not matter, but what we have noted is that the government is trying to make people depend on the government.
Kanti akusiyona indlela yokuthi abantu bangaphila ngayo leyo.
That is not how it should be.
Umuntu kumele azi ukuthi uma ngivuka la ukuthi ngiphile nomndeni wami kufanele ngenzeni.
Each and every individual must know that every morning when I wake up in the morning, what is it that I must do for my family?
Ngempela climate change, it's no longer just inkinga, it's a serious crisis.
Climate change is just not only a challenge, but it's now a serious crisis.
Dala iza.
It has been long coming.
Manje sesibona ini manje ama effects akhona, ama impacts akhona which are very devastating.
Now we see the impacts, its impacts which are very devastating.
So angazi ke ukuthi kule bill le kukhona la mhlambe kuthiwa khona okay asizameni ukwenza kanje ukuthi sivale because ama bills esikhathini singa aba nama gaps and those gaps are very dangerous.
I don't know whether in this bill, whether there are any mechanisms to mitigate, because sometimes these laws, they have loopholes and which can have very dangerous impact.
Because lawo ma gaps lawo uma engazange agcwaliswe seyisayiniwe lo bill yaphasiswa ukuthi be umthetho kuzoba khona aba-edayo izinto ezizogculisa bona not umphakathi.
Because if the laws are, if that law is enacted without proper consideration of the loopholes in there, there are going to be others who want to put in other aspects into those acts which only satisfies them.
And then ngalo ndlela leyo sigcina futhi kulimala thina futhi sivele silimele phela thina.
And that is going to disadvantage us as we are already.
Ngicela ke ukuthi please ngiyacela kuko konke climate change asithathele nekhanda because as much as komasipala bethu abazi lutho.
It is therefore my humble request that we must make climate change a priority, because it is apparent that our municipalities know nothing about climate
And
change.
kuyibo okumele ukuthi ngabe bona bafundisa thina.
And it is them who are supposed to educate us.
Kodwa esikhathini esiningi yithi esitshela bona esifundisa bona.
But many a times it is us who educate them.
So ngicela ukubonga ke kulondawo ibill okwamanje ngindikindiki ngiyabonga.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. And about the bill, I'm doubtful. I am doubtful. I'm not sure whether to support or not.
Yeah, dindiki. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. There are issues that relate to the municipality. That's fear of government that you have raised.
Siyabonga kakhulu kukhona izindaba ezibhekane nomasipala loyo mkhakha kahulumeni njengoba nani senikhulume ngazo.
Councillor Ngobese is here for that.
Councillor Ngobese njengoba ekhona uzobhekana nalezo.
Councillor Ngobese, I saw you writing here. Yes.
Councillor Ngobese ngukubona ubhala la.
Yeah. Khuluma nabahlali baseGuruleni. Ubatshele ukuthi you got an email at 2 minutes to 3 yesterday, and we appreciate that you are here. Siyabonga.
No, thank you, Honorable Chairperson, honorable members of our National Assembly present here and the officials, umphakathi waseGuruleni. Mhlawumbe kuzofuneka ngikhulume nesiZulu. Ngizocela ukukhuluma isiZulu so that kungabikho engimshiya ngemuva.
Maybe I must speak in English so that we can all be.
Yeah, Zulu is the English, yeah, well, it's
Oh, my apologies. My apologies. I wanted to say maybe I should speak in isiZulu so that all of us are covered.
Yeah, no, thank you, my brother. The question was, what will happen to the Eguruleni industrial hub? Are we going to stop industrializing because of the climate change?
Umbuzo bokuloyo ukuthi kuzokwenzakani manje ngezimboni zala ekuruleni ingaba kuzomiswa yini ukuthuthukiswa kwezimboni la ekuruleni?
Impendulo ithi cha, akuzuba kanjalo.
The answer is no.
Asikwazi ukuxosha amafemu la abantu basekuruleni abasebenza khona. You know, we got consort glass la ekuruleni, we got Liver Brothers, we got amafemu amakhulu, Omex Steel njalo njalo. So asikwazi ukuxosha amafemu ngoba aqasha abantu. Okufuneka sikwenze ukuthi sihlale nawo phansi sibone ukuthi bayehlisa kanjani le ntuthu ekhona.
No, we can't chase away the firms and factories here in our in Ekurhuleni because we need them. It has hired a lot of people who are working there, who are employed, so we can't chase away them. So the only thing that we'll do is just to sit down with them and discuss how can they reduce the emission that they are doing now.
Yeah. A lady said she's from Guatemala. Utebuya Guatemala, a township is very dirty. Yeah, but the word 111 is not in Guatemala. The word 111 is a Tsakane in an area called Marikane. Kuyiqiniso ukuthi kufanele ukuthi asenzile kahle kwezinye indawo. Kune indawo ingcolile namhlanje I've been addressing public meetings I'm from Ward 61. Kuyiqiniso ukuthi uma ngiza lapha uyabuka ukuthi kungcolile kakhulu.
That's true. There is the improvement that is needed in many places. It is dirty. As I was addressing one of the community meeting, I can agree with you that there is that you are talking about when you mention dirty.
But one step that we have taken, the HOD in the environment department, in the waste department has been suspended.
Kodwa ikhona igxathu esesilithathile liya
As we
phambili.
speak.
I-HOD ebhekelele ezemvelo njengoba sikhuluma njengamanje siyimisile kancane.
Ngoba sibona ukuthi umsebenzi awuzi kahle. Umisiwe is suspended and amathuba ukuthi abuye mancane.
Because we've noticed that he's not doing well. So as we speak, he's umisiwe, suspended, and the chance that he will come back and continue are very slim.
Yeah. Yeah, bashula abaningi. We just 2 weeks ago at the Spasisa adjustment budget about 2 weeks ago. Umsebenzi usuzoqhubeka ubonakale. Siyathemba noDoti. There is an acting HOD. Umsebenzi uzawuqhubeka nemali sesikwazile ukuphasisa i-adjustment budget.
So emavikini amabili adlule kuyokwapasiswa le adjustment budget. So we hope that now you will see a change when it comes to waste. We can assure you that it will be collected because this adjustment budget has been passed.
There was also a suggestion that we should lease these dumping sites for agricultural sectors so that they could prevent illegal dumping. Ngihlanganisa nalena ethe omunye kuna 3 years lease abayisayinayo 3 years instead of 10 years. We will need to zoom into that. I'm the MMC for human settlement in Ekurhuleni, but before I was an MMC for roads and transport. But I'm going to escalate all these things that are not in my department to our sister department so that, because we work together, we are one government, the national government, provincial government, and local government. This is why I'm here. Although I got an invite very late yesterday afternoon, but I said I must respect the honorable members who are here, but I will escalate that to our, Councillor Dolo, you were here. Ubekhona uCouncillor Dolo angazomsese khona yini I noted your concerns as well, but some of the
Kukhona
things.
nikshilo, excuse me, kukhona nikshilo ngokuphathelene nokuthi leza indawo lezi maziqashiswe ukuze kwenziwe ezolimo kuzona. Ngiyakuzwa ngempela lokho enikushoyo nalokho kuye kwaphawulwa abanye ezinye zezinto eniziphawulile uthola ukuthi azithinti ngokuqondile ngempela umnyango engikuwona engisebenza kuwona, kodwa ke ngenxa ukuthi siuhulumeni wodwa ngakhathaliseki ukuthi wesifundazwe noma kamasipala siyinto eyodwa, ngakho ezinye zezinto enizishilo sizozithatha sizidlulisele kulabo ababhekene nalowo mnyango ngqo ukuze bazibheke bazisebenze. Ngakho angeke ziphelele la ngisho kuthiwa ziwuthinta umnyango engikuwona.
Yeah. Ubaba Ushabalala was what 111. He said ushilo ukuthi is disappointed that the MMC for waste is not here, and ngiyavuma baba, but ama concerns la uwarizile, I will definitely package them and ngimnikeze njalo.